Chapter 575, Radiance Ten Heavens, Gongming Shi'an. 4. Chapter 575, Radiance Ten Heavens, Gongming Shi'an. 4. Wyo. We ride Yo, soaring through the distant heavenly domain. Where is the exit of the bearing tree heavenly domain, Yo? Yo is one of the disciples of the Northern Dipper 7 heavenly lords, who are in turn disciples of the heavenly venerable of time. Because of this, she possesses extensive knowledge regarding the structure of the star veins stemming from the flow of time, that is the source river. In an instant, Yo locates the entrance and exit of the bearing tree heavenly domain through the star vein I and flies toward it. True persons are undoubtedly strong. Through the star veins, they can fold and traverse tens, hundreds of millions of light years. However, that only applies to the heavenly domain where they have advanced to the star-shattering stage. If it is an unfamiliar heavenly domain where not a single star vein is connected to them, then they are no longer able to recklessly leap across hundreds of millions of light years as before. Because of this, Yo borrows the authority of Golden Shaking Bird, John Myung-hoon, and me to leap across hundreds of millions of light years. By the way, the bearing tree heavenly domain seems larger than the sun and moon heavenly domain, just from how it feels. In the sun and moon heavenly domain, flying for a few hundred million light years is enough to reach the desired location. However, in the bearing tree heavenly domain, even after flying for billions of light years, it still feels difficult to reach one's destination. At my words, Golden Shaking Bird shrugs and explains. That's because, Elder, the sun and moon heavenly domain is the smallest and narrowest of all the heavenly domains. Is that so? Yes. They say that heavenly domains continuously expand at the speed of light, but that's actually incorrect. Only the heavenly domains under the direct jurisdiction of Radiance Hall expand at the speed of light. Oh, then are there universes that expand faster than light? At my question, John Myung-hoon scoffs. The universe originally expanded faster than light. Didn't you know that? I was a humanities major. But why do you know? You were a humanities major too. I diligently built up my general knowledge even during work hours. Why on earth were you building up general knowledge during work hours? I clutch my head as it throbs from the conversation and decide to continue listening to Golden Shaking Bird. The heavenly domains under the direct jurisdiction of Radiance Hall do not expand at a speed exceeding the speed of light. The sun and moon heavenly domain, being one of those, has a relatively slow expansion rate. However, even putting that aside, the sun and moon heavenly domain is said to be significantly smaller than the other heavenly domains under Radiance Hall's jurisdiction. And what's the reason for that? My master in the past said, once you reach upper immortal, you will naturally understand. I do not know either. Regardless, all other heavenly domains are far larger than the sun and moon heavenly domain. Now that I think about it, isn't the bearing tree heavenly domain also under the direct jurisdiction of Radiance Hall? Then shouldn't it be similar to the sun and moon heavenly domain? I suppose that's precisely why my previous master said that one will come to understand upon becoming an upper immortal. It seems there is some deeper reason as to why sun and moon heavenly domain is so small. For now, I simply nod and continue lending my power to Yo, leaping across thousands of light years as we make our way out of the bearing tree heavenly domain. Like that, 2 years pass. Wyo. After 2 years of flying with Yo, continuously leaping across thousands of light years, we finally arrive at the exit of the bearing tree heavenly domain. Woo, the origin of all star veins. The birthplace of the universe. Of course, in the plane of Qi, there is no such thing as the universe's birthplace, but as one rises to the planes of soul and fate, that birthplace becomes somewhat visible, and the location corresponding to the universe's birthplace in the plane of fate is precisely where we have arrived. Cool. And then, I flinch upon seeing something stationed there. What is that? Well, as you probably know, Golden Shaking Bird gives an awkward laugh and explains. This place is under the direct jurisdiction of Radiance Hall. The heavenly domains directly governed by Radiance Hall always have something like that. Our sun and moon heavenly domain didn't have one because my master in his previous life smashed it apart and shoved in the lightning sacred sea instead. Indeed, at the starting point of the bearing tree heavenly domain, at the entrance to this world, a massive formation diagram in the shape of a black snake biting its tail floats in the void. It's a teleportation formation. Even after leaving a heavenly domain, one must pass through a dimension called a sea, which is assigned to each heavenly domain. It's usually referred to as the inner sea. Crossing this dimension is extremely arduous and time-consuming. Since the three of us are all vestige liberation immortals, if we pool our strength, we should be able to reach the next heavenly domain in about 70,000 years. 70,000 years. I click my tongue at the absurd number and speak. Don't talk nonsense. That's way too long. Yang Sujin's great desolate path just seemed to zip through anywhere in an instant. Well, that's because the great desolate path is an immortal treasure the Liberation Supreme Deity was forced to create back when they were an immortal lord. It is a rare artifact. In any case, for those impatient like you, Elder, the rulers of each heavenly domain install these formations at their domain's entrance and exit. All heavenly domains except for the Earth-axis heavenly domain and the Sun and Moon heavenly domain have them. Golden shaking bird points to the formation diagram in the shape of the black snake biting its tail. It's a teleportation formation that allows one to reach another heavenly domain in just 2 or 3 days. We won't be able to use it. Judging by Jiang's reaction in the previous life, there's likely a bounty on all enders. The moment John Myung-hoon and I step into that place, the true immortals under Radiance Hall's command will go berserk and chase us down. Yeah, probably. Master in his previous life also never used Radiance Hall's teleportation formations. Right? Then what should we do? As I contemplate, Hong Fan, who resides within me, sends a voice transmission. Master, if it is necessary, how about this method? What method? My origin star, Darkness World, can somewhat evade the gaze of light. What? Is that really true? Yes, since it's a world created using some of my past life's knowledge, I am certain. It somewhat falls into the realm of immortal arts. Therefore, masters can temporarily conceal themselves in my integrated Dao domain, and I will go out and use the teleportation formation. From a concealment viewpoint, they would never imagine that exalted true immortals would hide inside the origin star of a star-shattering stage bug. We nod at Hong Fan's words. Well, it's not a bad idea, but are you sure we won't be caught? It is possible. As if to assure me, Hong Fan extracts his origin star from within me. Hong Fan's darkness world has already transformed into something akin to a black hole in the universe, absorbing all surrounding light. Certainly, perhaps because he has mixed in an immortal art he created using his past life's knowledge, ordinary light does not seem able to easily penetrate its depths. After a brief discussion, we nod to each other and decide to hide inside Hong Fan's body. By the way, since this teleportation formation belongs to Radiance Hall, do they not charge a toll? It is said true immortals and true persons pay the toll by bestowing fortune in favor of Radiance Hall. Meanwhile, those at the Sacred Vessel stage and below pay with their lifespan. Those at the Sacred Vessel stage must give up 1,000,000 years, while those at the Star-Shattering stage and below will lose at least 100,000 years. I click my tongue. Then those at the Integration stage would have to die just to travel to another heavenly domain. That is true, but why would an average Integration stage cultivator even try to cross into another heavenly domain? They are too busy struggling within their own middle realm as it is. Well then, sorry, Hong Fan, we'll have to sacrifice a bit of your lifespan. But don't worry, we will bestow you with more in the future. Since we have long since gained the ability to grant lifespan to mortal beings as we please, it is a promise we can easily keep. Kugagugagu. Thus, John Myung-hoon, Golden Shaking Bird, and the rest of us all enter Hong Fan's origin star. Kugagugagu. It's dark. The interior of Hong Fan's star is utterly dark. This is bad. John Myung-hoon mutters to himself with a serious expression in the darkness for some reason. What's wrong? Black hole. Hong Fan's origin star is one of the celestial bodies known as black hole, right? That's right. I can't remember what we called black hole on Earth. It seems that after living through a vast span of cosmic time, John Myung-hoon's memory has started to show signs of wear. I click my tongue and tell him, wasn't it called a degenerate star? Was it? Yeah, I think that was it. It seems I will have to find a way to address John Myung-hoon's memory loss issue at some point. No, wait, John Myung-hoon isn't the problem here. After this much time, Kim Yun and Kim Young-hoon, who have not advanced far in their immortal cultivation, could be in much greater danger. I decide to come up with a consciousness method for their sake, while quietly waiting inside Hong Fan's body. How much time has passed? Woo-woom. Woo-woom. Hong Fan. I sense that 100,000 years of Hong Fan's lifespan has just vanished. Hong Fan has paid his lifespan as the toll. Woo-woom. Having passed through Radiance Hall's teleportation formation, we continue to conceal our presence within Hong Fan's body for another day or two. Especially since I'm using Hidden Heavens Beyond the Path to completely erase the presence of John Myung-hoon, Golden Shaking Bird, and myself. Even if light is projected into Hong Fan's body, it will not easily find us. Woo-woom. And then, sometime later, Hong Fan's will reaches us, and we emerge from deep within his origin star. Woo-woom. We emerge from Hong Fan's body and look around. This place is, woo-woom. The very nature of the chi that composes the world feels different. I read the celestial energy, absorbing the information of this universe. Good Sight Heavenly Domain. That's right. This is the Good Sight Heavenly Domain. The place where Kim Young-hoon was last seen. Well then, shall we go find Kim Young-hoon? Woo-woo. With fire burning in my eyes flash with the gaze of heaven and earth. History and the future unfold clearly within my vision. At the true immortal realm, the consciousness domain is no longer an essential sensory tool. Rather, the sight of heaven and earth is far superior for perception. At the true immortal realm, consciousness is now nothing more than one of the many forces used to wield immortal arts. Woo-woo. As I read through history and the future, searching for Kim Young-hoon, I suddenly sensed something strange. What? Just why? Is it that even after tracing back 3,000 years, there's no history of anyone entering the Good Sight Heavenly Domain from outside? It's as if the records have been erased. Just as I begin to feel perplexed. Blink. Huh. Golden Shaking Bird, John Myung-hoon, Yeo-y, and I all freeze in place. No one senses anything. No one perceives anything. Within a unit of time in the void that surpasses even a fleeting moment, a girl with a ponytail, clad in black martial attire, appears among us like a ghost. Surung. And in her left hand, she holds something. It is darkness. No, it is simply something that is not light. I cannot properly describe it. The only certainty is that I cannot properly perceive it. It is neither a sword nor a spear, neither a bow nor an arrow, neither a whip nor anything else. Yet, as I look at it, I feel as if an illusion of being impaled by that very thing and dying unfolds before my eyes. And within that instant that feels like an eternity, the ponytailed girl looks at me with hollow eyes and gives a terrifying smile. You came looking for that Kim Young-hoon guy? Her next words make me feel like I'm about to go crazy. He already died by my hand. Sorry to have made you come all this way for nothing. Chuck. As an apology, she takes a stance. That single movement alone makes me feel as if my entire being is crumbling. I shall dance with you as well. Chapter 576, Radiance 10 Heavens, Gongming Shengya. 5. Clang. Her gaze alone feels like it is slicing through my skin. Breathing is difficult. I know it too. Right now, the heavenly venerable of void, Hyen-mu, is not even being serious. She is acting as if she came across a cute wild animal on the road and decided to give it a belly scratch. I can tell that saying she killed Kim Young-hoon is just a way to tease me. Of course, the statement that she killed him is the truth, but I can see that there is some kind of trap in her words meant to mock me. That is how openly, and without reservation, she is revealing her emotions and intent, as if someone like me is not even worth hiding them from. However, even knowing that, I feel like collapsing at her feet and vomiting right this moment, even after reaching true immortality. No, rather, precisely because I have reached true immortality, I can see the disparity between she and I even more clearly. In terms of realm, she is exactly one step ahead of me. However, I realize that one step is an absolutely insurmountable, nauseatingly horrific gap, to the point that I want to kill myself. I do not want to do anything. I want to immediately run away somewhere, or throw myself to the ground and beg for my life. But I must do what must be done. I must protect those behind me, no matter how terrifying it is, no matter if my body refuses to move. That much I must accomplish. With that single conviction, I push through Hyen-mu's overwhelming pressure and extend my palm towards Golden Shaking Bird and John Myung-hoon, sending them flying across several light years. Then, I quickly pull Hong Fan and Yeo-y into my body and draw out the colorless glass sword. Hwarurik. The colorless glass sword, synchronized with glass true fire, flickers into existence in my hand, aimed at Hyen-mu. Then immediately after. Wait. Hyen-mu furrows her brows as she withdraws her momentum and weapon. Heek. Heeyak. Heek. The moment Hyen-mu retracts her presence, I finally exhale in a frenzy, sucking in spiritual energy. I just experienced death. Only now do I realize how precious this inhaled breath of spiritual energy is. Hyen-mu's aura is so profound and terrifying that I even feel grateful to her for withdrawing it. I quickly steady my breathing and look at Hyen-mu. She narrows her eyes, a hint of confusion in her expression, as if she has something to ask me. What is the meaning of this? Were you not trying to kill us? I intended to let you experience death. But you... Just now, what exactly did you just take into your body? Pardon, I asked back in confusion. I pulled in Hong Fan and Yeo-y, but is there a problem? What do you mean? That immortal treasure of yours, which seems to be a descendant of Azure Pong, and something else. Did you not take them into your body? Yes, that is correct. They are my subordinates. Bring them back out. I steady my stance at Hyen-mu's words and ask, do you have business with my subordinate? If there is a reason, please state it. I failed to perceive it. At first, I thought it was simply because I had turned my attention away while focusing on you. But when you absorbed it into your body, I could tell. That thing was outside of my perception. I need to check again. I will be able to discern its identity if I see it directly, so bring it out before me. The heavenly venerable of the void couldn't perceive Hong Fan. How could that be? A heavenly venerable failing to perceive an existence at the star-shattering stage. This is far too strange. I clearly sense something strange, and I read the intent that Hien Mu is not even trying to hide. She undoubtedly harbors killing intent. She intends to kill Hong Fan. You plan to kill my subordinate, if necessary. In that case, I cannot show you my subordinate's face so carelessly. No matter if you are a heavenly venerable, that one is my subordinate. At the same time, he is someone like my family, one whom I have cared for since the moment he emerged from his egg, even if it is you. Facing Hien Mu's killing intent, I release my own in response, tightening my grip on the colorless glass sword. I cannot forgive anyone who lays a hand on my family. Hien Mu gazes at me in silence. That dreadful emptiness. Just seeing the emptiness in her eyes alone makes me feel as if my strength is being drained away. She continues to stare at me for a moment before raising one hand. I flinch and take a defensive stance, but she does not attack. However, I realize what she is doing. Ziying. The taiji begins to rotate. She is reading the history of this place. If you do not wish to show me, then that is fine. I can simply see for myself. Let's see. If I follow the flow of qi backward and trace the events, I tense up even further at the sight of Hien Mu's actions and strengthen my guard. I cannot escape. I have seen her travel through the domain of purity before. An ultimate technique that surpasses my heavenly escape by several levels. If she uses that, no matter where I flee, I will never get away. So, if she finds Hong Fan displeasing, I must counterattack. That is the only way to extend both my life and Hong Fan's, even if just by a little. I prepare myself to unleash the phenomena extinguishing mantra, Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique, or filling the heavens governing view at a moment's notice, raising my tension. Then, Sururuk. Hien Mu lowers her arm. The taiji that had been spinning vanishes into the void. She finished reading the history. I brace myself, expecting Hien Mu's next attack. But her following words are entirely unexpected. Interesting. It cannot be read. I widen my eyes, unable to comprehend the situation. With empty eyes, Hien Mu gives a chilling smile. She starts to glare at me. It could not be seen. However, I clearly read the chi of that so-called subordinate of yours. That aura, that faint trace of history, I felt from it. Hoo. I grit my teeth as I watch her start to laugh. She begins to conceal her intent. I can no longer read her intent, but somehow, I feel like I know what it is. The true martial great Emperor Hien Mu, for some reason, is filled with rage right now. Hand over your subordinate. Then I will revive the dead Kim Young-hoon immediately, grant you all a great enlightenment, and send you on your way unharmed. By hand over you mean, leave it here and disappear. If I give you my subordinate, will you return him? I will decide that. Give me just one star-shattering stage, and I will bestow upon you an unparalleled blessing and grace. I am also well aware of the nature of you Enders, so I will make every effort to ensure it does not bring misfortune upon you. So, hand it over to me right now. I glare at Hien Mu and answer. I refuse. He is my subordinate and my family. Absolutely not. Just like that time. Phenomena extinguishing mantra. Just like that time when I lost everything to the Great Mountain Supreme Deity. I will not easily hand my family over to another. Heeing. A tremendous pain surges within my body. I prophesize. If the Northern Heavenly Venerable True Martial Great Emperor Hien Mu harms me, Hien Mu will face the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld and inevitably be obstructed by the judges. The power of a prophecy depends on how strong the probability of it coming true is. For example, the apple hanging from the tree falls to the ground is an overwhelmingly powerful prophecy, because that apple is bound to fall eventually. The stronger its natural inevitability, the more powerful the prophecy becomes, reinforcing its absoluteness. Conversely, the apple hanging from the tree soars upwards is a prophecy whose inevitability approaches zero, making its absoluteness weak and causing it to consume an excessive amount of power. In other words, since it is only natural that the judges would aid the heavenly venerable of the underworld when Hien Mu confronts them, the absoluteness of my prophecy deepens. This will be troublesome for Hien Mu. No matter how strong she is, even she would find it difficult to battle the heavenly venerable of the underworld with all the judges gathered. She would need to fight one-on-one for any chance of victory. Thus, she would have to lure the underworld into a place where the judges are absent. But with my prophecy in place, such lures or traps would be exceedingly difficult to establish. However, I add one more thing to it. This is a prophecy I stake my life upon. Kugagugum. The pain sharpens further, turning into hooks that latch onto something fundamental within me. A true immortal's life-bound prophecy. And not just any prophecy, but one that reinforces the absoluteness of an already inevitable truth. I see Hien Mu's face contorting into that of an evil spirit. Starting from true immortality, even the lowest vestige liberation immortal can impose such a restriction upon a heavenly venerable by staking their life. That is why we are able to assert our rights even against celestial beings. With her face twisted in fury, Hien Mu speaks to me. You are a bold one. To stake upon yourself the very prophecy I would hate the most. Is that subordinate of yours truly so precious to you? I have already told you. He is my family. Family, you say? Hurrah. Very well. If that is your resolve, then I, too, shall tell you something. The heavenly venerable of void, Hien Mu, points at me with a gloomy expression. More precisely, she points at Hong Fan within me. I could not read its existence. However, by reading its chi, I discovered something, a rather unamusing truth. What would that be? Disgust. Pardon. When I sensed its presence, I felt an unbearable disgust. A revulsion that surpassed the feeling of bugs crawling all over my body. A visceral nausea and disgust that made me want to vomit from deep within my chest. Hong Fan's presence caused such a feeling in Hien Mu? I feel puzzled and ask again. Are you trying to kill my subordinate just because of disgust? Listen until the end. This is not the first time I have felt such disgust. Do you know what transpired between the former deputy judge of the underworld He Niang and the three heavenly venerables? Yes, I happened to hear about it before. That one, in a fragment of some ancient force, exposed the disgrace of us three heavenly venerables. Yes, disgrace. Hien Mu's gaze turns toward me. No, more precisely, she seems to be using me as a medium to peer into my body in the true immortal realm. The disgust I felt when He Niang exposed our disgrace, it is the same feeling from then. The being you are hiding within your body is, by its very existence, an immense disgrace to the heavenly venerables. Let me ask you one thing. That one, was it born in the head realm? Yes. Of course. The totality of all ancient force. The secret wonder of hidden history. It is because it was born in the head realm that it carries this feeling. Hien Mu grips her own face, contorting it into a bizarre expression that teeters between laughter and weeping. Now you understand the causality. Hand it over. That one is a disgrace to the heavenly venerables. It is one of the traces of ancient force that we deemed as wisdom that even we ourselves must not know, that we severed from history and sealed away. Even if it is not by my hand, the other heavenly venerables except the underworld will seek to annihilate it by any means the moment they lay eyes on it. You called it your family? How could that be? Do you think such a dangerous entity, tied to the disgrace of the heavenly venerables, would truly consider you as family? Even if it follows you now, it must surely be hiding its true intentions. Ah, did you say you hatched and raised it from an egg? Then is it in the process of regaining its memories? That could be the case. The moment it fully remembers everything, it will care nothing for its connections to someone like you and will kill you without hesitation. Between the fingers of the heavenly venerable of void, her menacing gaze gleams. This is dangerous. Hand it over. It is fated to die by our hands anyway. It is dangerous to you as well. Your so-called pitiful notion of family means nothing to it. Offer it to me. That is the only path for everyone. Hong Fan is the disgrace of the heavenly venerables? But I do not want to agree with that statement. And more than anything, Hien Mu's words are wrong. This child is not the disgrace of you all. There seems to be a misunderstanding. I hope this misunderstanding can be resolved. A misunderstanding? You claim him to be the disgrace of the heavenly venerables. Yet this one has met the Sal Tree heavenly venerable before. Back in the ancient force realm. At that time, I had no recollection, but I later recalled everything within the annihilation flower upon hearing the Sal Tree heavenly venerable's cry. I'm referring to all the moments spent together with the Sal Tree heavenly venerable in the ancient force realm. Back then, I'm certain Hong Fan accidentally pushed the Sal Tree heavenly venerable, and I remember the Sal Tree heavenly venerable looking at Hong Fan with a displeased expression. But that was all. The Sal Tree heavenly venerable did not go berserk like Hien Mu, trying to kill Hong Fan. This child is not some disgrace of the three heavenly venerables. I recount what happened back then and try to persuade Hien Mu. Perhaps because he grew up in the head realm, he may have become entangled with some aura from that place. If so, I will extract it for you. So please, do not be angry and resolve this misunderstanding. Hien Mu, having listened to everything I said, nods and speaks. Understood. Truly thank you. That one, among all the heavenly venerables, is the one most deeply tied to the disgrace of my origin. It is undoubtedly the one closest to me. Pardon. At that shocking statement, I grit my teeth and press on. What do you mean by that? In the first place, even when the Northern Heavenly Venerable took their own life before me as a member of the Black-Scaled Fish Commanding Sect, Hong Fan was present. Well, sorry, but I don't remember much about the inside of Lofty Dragon's storage scroll. Those at your level might not have noticed, but fate and history are interwoven in a tangled mess over there. And for beings of a certain level, both authority and perception are immensely restricted. Think about it. Why do you think that bootlicker of Radiance Hall, Beckwon, didn't rummage through the treasure trove that is Lofty Dragon's storage scroll? It's because she knows it's impossible for someone like her to break through the fate and history woven by Lofty Dragon true person. That's enough. High Mu glares at me with a truly angered expression. Enough talk. Hand it over. There can be a few reasons why only I am feeling discomfort. For example, it could be because I have the sharpest intuition and the most delicate senses among the 4 heavenly venerables, meaning that this is a discomfort only a being of my level can perceive. Or, as I said, that one is the disgrace tied to my origin. Either way, it is a highly dangerous and ominous existence, and only by killing and erasing it right now will I not be afraid of future consequences. Sarek. In an instant, High Mu closes the distance, stopping just short of touching the tip of my nose. My body trembles as I stare at her. When she moves, I can't perceive it. This isn't some trick or deception. It was purely the result of an insane speed that far surpassed light, erasing the distance between us. I will say this one last time. Hand it over, before I kill you. I smile. Try killing me. High Mu looks up at me, her eyes filled with emptiness and rage. Are you not afraid of pain? The one who has inflicted the greatest pain upon me is my senior brother. I meet her gaze without looking away. I state this with certainty. The Northern Heavenly Venerable could never bring me pain greater than my senior brother has. At my declaration, High Mu narrows her eyes. I see. From Guac AM, that's how it was. Kukik. High Mu takes a step back and chuckles. But it seems you don't quite understand. In this world, torture isn't limited to the kind of brutal and oppressive suffering that Guac AM inflicted. Sarek. High Mu moves her hand. I flinch in surprise at her movement and quickly glance at my surroundings. Space and time distort. The place beneath my feet has turned pitch black. The starlit depths of the good sight heavenly domain are swallowed by darkness. It is as if the entire world has transformed into the interdimensional void. This is distance. In this world with me as the center, the distances between me and the countless stars have become endlessly distant. I will not bring you harm. As I dislike interference in my battle against the underworld, I will simply make you hand it over yourself. Sururuk. Melting into the darkness, the heavenly venerable of the void lets out a chilling laugh. Endless eternity. You will never escape the good sight heavenly domain, nor will you ever communicate properly with anyone else. No matter where you move, only darkness will welcome you, and you will never reach another star. Feel the weight of solitude for all of eternity. Sararak. The voice of High Mu who has fully dissolved into the darkness echoes through my mind. Until you hand over my disgrace, you will sail through darkness within horrifying solitude for all of eternity. By High Mu's authority, I am imprisoned in a space-time cage where no light can reach. Hong Fan is High Mu's disgrace. One day, if he regains his memories, he will betray me? It doesn't matter, at least in this moment. Hong Fan follows me. As long as he follows me, I will trust him. For that is retribution, Ying Bal, and at the same time, connection, Yin Yan. And at the same time, he is family. Hong Fan is already my family. Even if you imprison me for 10 million years, I will never hand over my family's life to another. I stare into the terrifying void that has become my prison and shout. Let's see who wins. Thus, with Hong Fan between us, the long battle between High Mu and I begins. Chapter 577, Radiance Ten Heavens, Gongming Shikan. 6. Endless darkness. I try to bend space with attraction force to escape from this empty void. Gijigik. But even after warping space and moving thousands of light years, even after traveling for days, nothing in my surroundings changes. How many days have I been moving like this? Master. Hong Fan. Hong Fan speaks to me. I lost consciousness for a moment due to the presence of some immense being. What happened? I hesitate for a moment. High Mu's words about how if Hong Fan regains his memories, he would abandon our family play lingers in my mind. But I shake my head and tell him. I recount everything that happened between me and High Mu. Master, please offer me. Hong Fan grits his teeth as he speaks. Rather than being shackled by someone like me, it is far more important for Master to advance in realm by sacrificing me. It's not happening. Master. Silence. It is already a decided matter. Even if I must wander this void for 10 million years. No, 100 billion years. What cannot be done cannot be done. Master. As if sensing my resolve, Hong Fan lets out a quiet sigh. Then, nodding, he speaks. Understood. If that is Master's will, then within the boundaries Master set, I will find an escape route for Master. Hong Fan settles within my body and begins drawing something on the ground. They are formulas and diagrams. There must be a way. This place has turned into something like the interdimensional void, but it is still the astral realm. If that is the case, then there may be a way to escape by passing through the interdimensional void, Source River, the underworld, or the Eastern Heaven flower field. I will calculate every possibility and method with all my strength. With a solemn expression, he continues with determination. I will exhaust all my talents to ensure that Master escapes this place and walks your rightful fate. Hong Fan. Feeling his loyalty, I suppressed the surge of emotion rising in my chest. Yes, he is my family. How could anyone carelessly doubt someone who believes in them so completely? I will trust you as well. I will not disappoint you. I will find a way out. From that day on, Hong Fan devotes himself to analyzing the astral realm's attraction force, spatial currents, and the flow of the planes of chi, soul, and fate, searching for a way to escape this empty space-time. Thanks to that, we uncover a new truth. This space is unfolding with Master at its center. With me at its center? Yes, an immense region of space moves with Master as its core. Because this empty space shifts whenever Master moves, Master will never be able to leave it and arrive at another location through ordinary movement. Then what must I do? There are a few methods. The first method is to commit suicide. If Master takes your own life, the space structured around Master will collapse. However, this is absolutely not an option, so please do not even think about it. Yeah, I don't commit suicide so easily. The second method is to approach the brink of death, as close as possible, then revive abruptly. Hong Fan's explanation is as follows. This space unfolds with me at its center, influenced by my actions and state. So if I die, the space collapses. If I become weak enough to be close to death, the space contracts. And if I revive abruptly after reaching that near-death state, my restored presence will surpass the shrunken space, allowing me to escape. However, as this is far too dangerous, I do not recommend it. I suggest the third method instead. The third method? Yes. The third method is to create a substitute. A substitute? Yes. I recalled a memory from my past life. Have you ever heard of a way to desecrate fate? I know it well. Then there is no need for a lengthy explanation. The method is to elevate the immortal treasure or devotees within your body, like Yi, Hamjin, or Uy, to the true immortal realm. Then, Master transfers the space-time of emptiness affixed to you onto them. I frown at Hong Fan's words. That is far too cruel. I have no desire for such a method of desecrating fate. Once Master passes this space onto them, Master can seek out the existence known as the owner of void and either negotiate or fight to unravel this space-time. That will resolve the issue. But Hong Fan watches my hesitation, then suddenly slaps me across the face. Jock, get a hold of yourself, Co Eun-hyun. Do you really think you can escape this place without any sacrifice? The only things you can obtain without sacrifice are empty ones like words and hearts. This world is built upon sacrifice, and you yourself have made it this far because of sacrifice. What you must do is not to whimper at those sacrifices, but to step upon them and move forward towards a better future. You must walk your path of rightful fate. With a furious expression, Hong Fan continues his outburst. Are you planning to sit around here for thousands, tens of thousands years, 100 billion years? Have you not even thought about the people waiting for you outside? Right now, you need to get out of here no matter what method it takes. I meet Hong Fan's gaze. He appears furious, but his eyes hold not anger, but concern. He is only pretending to be angry for my sake. A sharp rebuke. I appreciate it. Accepting his words, I give a bitter smile. Fine. If you insist this much, I will accept it to a degree. But I look directly into his eyes. Aren't you still hiding another method from me? Tell me that first. Understood. There are two more. The fourth method. Master advances to the realm of a great net immortal. If you do, Master will be free from the attraction force of the true immortal realm and will be able to properly move through it. That will make escaping to other dimensions, such as the Source River or the Eastern Heaven flower field, incredibly easy. And the last method? The fifth method is to observe every flow that composes this space-time of emptiness and dismantle the gaps within it. If that can be done, even without a high cultivation realm, Master will be able to escape to other dimensions like the Source River, the flower field, or the underworld. Having finished his explanation, Hong Fan sighs and speaks. But to be honest, given the current situation, I will speak realistically. Master, you are a dullard. You have yet to even grasp your own fate, so your talent as a true immortal is the worst. At your current state, I estimate it would take Master about 1 billion years to become a great net immortal. His blunt criticism feels like a nail being driven into my chest. 1 billion years. No matter what, could it really take that long? And the last method is the same. This space has a specific flow, and it can be analyzed, But the problem is, Master must have felt it too, right? Yeah, this space has a will. Yes, it is likely the will of the Northern Heavenly Venerable, as you mentioned. The moment I attempt to analyze this space, that will most certainly begin chaotically scrambling all the flows of this vast space that stretches beyond comprehension to obstruct me. To analyze this space from complete ignorance while being obstructed by a Heavenly Venerable, even for me, would take 50 million years. Well, it is certainly a far faster option than waiting for Master to advance to Great Net Immortal, but 50 million years is still an unfathomable length of time. Realistically, the quickest method is to raise Yi back to the entering nirvana stage, and then kill her to aid her advancement to true immortality. Afterward, handing over this space-time to her as a true immortal would be the quickest course of action. In that case, it would take at most 10 million years, and at the fastest, around 4,000 years. But Hong Fan and I turn our gaze in the same direction. Clank, clank. At some point, Yi awakened and began eavesdropping on our conversation. The moment our eyes meet, Yi quickly escapes from my body and tries fleeing towards a distant void outside this space-time. Audiobook. But as my immortal treasure-bound entity, she cannot escape the attraction force between us, and she is caught and pulled back to me. What exactly is the problem? We were discussing aiding your advancement to true immortality. Master, are you joking right now? What? Yi, seemingly forgetting that she is bound as my immortal treasure, starts raging at me, even while stricken with fear. This space-time of emptiness. There is no trace of any dimension of death here. No source river, no eastern heaven flower field, no underworld, no interdimensional void. See, can't you feel it? That a great being has sealed off the domain of death. How can I advance in a place like this? Do not worry. There is one domain even a heavenly venerable cannot seal. Indeed, currently, this space-time of emptiness is tightly sealed by Hien Mu to prevent our escape. From the underworld to the source river, all space-times of death are severed within this astral realm. However, even if it is Hien Mu, there is one thing she cannot seal. The domain of purity. Even now, I can feel that I can use heavenly escape. The true world of death. If it is there, advancing to true immortal is definitely possible. If you advance in the same manner I did, there will be no issue. Damn it. Damn it all. I already know, Master. I know what you were saying. That so-called purity, or whatever. Given my age, I've heard the rumors passed down among the entering nirvanas. In ancient times, advancing to true immortality was practically a brutal and horrific ritual no difference from suicide. But after the rise of the four heavenly venerables, underworld, Sal Tree, time, and void, the success rate for true immortal advancement skyrocketed. That means there is a method to advance without passing through the conventional dimension of death. But the probability is just too low. I will definitely die. I will pass down my own advancement experience without reservation. And if I teach you martial arts, I refuse. Even as an immortal treasure-bound entity unable to escape my attraction force, Yi lashes out at me before suddenly breaking into tears. I don't want to. I don't want to die. I'm so terrified of dying, so terrified of my life ending, that even with the easier true immortal advancement, I was nothing but a voyeuristic piece of trash lingering in the nether ghost realm. I'm afraid of dying. The thought of losing everything I have enjoyed and simply vanishing into a lump of nothingness terrifies me to my core. She wails, sobbing uncontrollably. This is too much. If it's being imprisoned with golden shaking bird for 100 billion years to be tortured and refined, I would nod and agree. But forcing me to advance is too much. I don't want to die. She does not want to die. She wants to live. That desperate, grief-stricken cry resonates deeply with me. Hong Fan glares at Yi with a furious expression and shouts, "What a disgraceful! How in the world did you even reach the entering nirvana stage? Do you not understand that some things cannot be obtained without being resolved to face death? From the star-shattering stage onward, one must always be ready to risk their life. How are your previous advancements any different from advancing to true immortality? Shut up. How is certain suicide the same as an advancement ritual where I can prepare and avoid death? I don't want to die? That's all there is to it. Do you not understand that there are values greater than life? Even after surviving this long. Shut your mouth, you bug bastard. How dare a mere star-shattering stage argue against me? I have already heard everything. As long as you are sacrificed, we can easily escape from here and even obtain a blessing. So why are you not slitting your own throat and offering yourself? If there really are things more important than life, prove it with your actions right now." Truly, despite facing Yi, who, being at the sacred vessel stage, is practically at the level of an entering nirvana true person, Hong Fan, who has only just reached the star-shattering stage, does not falter in the slightest. Instead, He grits his teeth as if looking down on her. Pathetic insect. Huh. Say whatever you want. I don't want to die. I just want to live. That is all. You? I cut off their conversation. Enough. That is enough. Master, that's enough, Hong Fan. I understand your loyalty, but I also fully understand Yeo Y's feelings. Because I, too, absolutely loathe dying. Not wanting to die is only natural, isn't it? Then there is no other way. Hong Fan, you have a total of 5 plans, correct? Yes, that is correct. We will carry them all out simultaneously. Pardon. Wawung. Kugagugagu. I raise my hand, drawing power from my true body. My chest pain flares up again. At the same time, a star begins to form above my hand. I will ask Hamjin and Uy as well. And perhaps they will refuse, too. If that happens, I will ask others. In the darkness, a single star is born. It is not a fixed star, but a rocky planet. Still, a star is a star. I begin to breathe life into the surface of that star. Either way, to cultivate the formula of the Radiance 10 Heavens, I will need living beings. I will ask them, and I will elevate my own realm as well. Hong Fan, I am sorry, but however long it takes, analyze the space-time. Meanwhile, I will raise the cultivation of the life forms that will be born. I will raise them, and raise them even more, until one day, someone among them reaches true immortality. Then, I will entrust it to them. Does that not settle everything? Kugagugagugu. The pain in my chest intensifies. I begin forming a fixed star using immortal arts and glance at Hong Fan with a smile. I do not know how many years this will take, but since things have come to this, let us think of it as an extended cultivation session. What do you think, Hong Fan? It may be a bit slower than you expected, but I turn to Yeo Y. I cannot break the will of someone who wants to live, can I? And more than anything, I recall the words I spoke to Guak Am. A sharp rebuke to not force your ways upon those who refuse them. I cannot be like Guak Am. I despise Guak Am. As my senior brother, I grant them the respect due, but their methods, their words, and everything about them repulses me. So, even as I move forward, I will never follow their way. I will never force my path upon another. Even if, by my own standards, it is a blessing. After all, you, too, respect my way. That is why, as Yeo Y said, you are not immediately slitting your own throat to offer yourself, is it not? Hong Fan lets out a deep sigh and speaks. Do as you wish. Now that Yeo Y has refused, my proposal no longer holds any meaning. I will follow Master's will. Thus, from that day onward, within this completely void space-time of emptiness, I begin to place stars one by one. Like that, 1,000,000 years pass. Kugagugagu. The cultivation of the Radiance 10 Heavens formula. The creation of a fixed star finally takes its first step. At last, within the small world of stars I have formed, a fixed star is born for the first time and scatters its light. Chapter 578, Radiance 10 Heavens, Gongming Shrikan. 7. Inside the space-time of emptiness. 10 years pass. After coming to their senses, Hamjin and Uy swear proper allegiance to me and begin their cultivation atop the stars I have created. I continue forming planets in the void of nothingness. It's a little lonely, but bearable. Woo-woo. Whatever Hien Mu has done, this original space of the astral realm is completely devoid of even a single dust cloud. Because of this, I must personally create matter to form planets, which drains my strength even more than before that I in the darkness. I generate heaven and earth spiritual energy through my main body, filling the surroundings. The heaven and earth spiritual energy that fills the surroundings soon settles into the plane of Qi, gradually descending to the floor of the plane of Qi and transforming into heavy matter. Kururum. Using the matter I create, I slowly form planets. Hamjin and Uy also steadily grow as they absorb the heaven and earth spiritual energy of the planets. In particular, Hamjin shows truly remarkable growth. Even when Yeo Y constantly chases after him, trying to mate with him at every opportunity, he indifferently brushes her off and continues his cultivation, making him seem like an entirely different person. During the 3,000 years I was asleep, it seems he has achieved an astonishing level of mental growth. Hamjin's current cultivation is at the 4-axis stage. It is merely the 4-axis stage built with the 5 elements axis, yet for some reason, he is far stronger than others of the same realm, possessing combat strength equivalent to the integration stage. Observing Hamjin, I uncover the reason. So that's it. Hamjin, that brat. After receiving a severe scolding from me, he spent 3,000 years grasping a portion of immortal arts. He has partially comprehended filling the heavens governing view. It is not a complete filling the heavens governing view. In fact, it has undergone some modifications, becoming quite different from its original form. But there is no doubt, Hamjin exudes the aura of an immortal art similar to that of filling the heavens governing view. an immortal art that manifests purely through the heart. Perhaps without even realizing it, Hamjin has, while being influenced by my filling the heavens governing view, begun awakening an immortal art of his own. I watch as Hamjin fleeing from UI burrowing through the planets I have made, and Hong Fan analyzing space-time. A smile spreads across my face. Hien Mu had claimed that no one would be able to communicate with me. Yet Hong Fan, through his own immortal art, converses with me without issue. Y, being my immortal treasure, is half fused with my being and has no trouble conveying messages to me. While it is true that I cannot communicate with Hamjin and UI directly as Hien Mu said, I can simply relay my messages through Y or Hong Fan, so it doesn't matter. Are you watching, Hien Mu? Without losing my smile, I prepare an immortal art to create a fixed star in the darkness. I am not so lonely. No matter how much Hien Mu tries to imprison me here, I will never submit to her. I will never bow. And so, 90 years pass in the darkness. The 100th year arrives. Wawoom. As I produce heaven and earth spiritual energy and create planets, I come to a realization. This is astonishing. Indeed, back when I had just become a true immortal, I had no time to calmly reflect, which is why I failed to notice it before now. What I have been generating is not heaven and earth spiritual energy. At my murmuring, Y, who had been meticulously planning her strategy to bring down Hamjin, tilts her head in confusion and asks, wait, Master didn't know that until now. What? That's strange. Since Master advanced to true immortality and grasped fate, there's no way you wouldn't know. To think you only figured it out now. Those in the star-shattering stage generate ordinary heaven and earth spiritual energy, but true immortals and beyond don't actually produce heaven and earth spiritual energy at all. I sit atop the tallest mountain on one of the glass planets I have created, frowning. What do you mean by that? And why are you only telling me this now? My apologies, Master. Honestly, I just never imagined that a genius like Master, hailed as the return of vast cold, wouldn't know something so basic. It seems that because the energy I generate being unusual is such common sense, no one has ever thought to mention it to me. From the moment one becomes a true immortal, the heaven and earth spiritual energy they produce is altered depending on their inner world and the type of immortal art within it. Take the middle realms of the sun and moon heavenly domain as an example. The bright cold realm generates heaven and earth spiritual energy that is purer and clearer than anywhere else. The true devil realm produces devilish energy. The blood-een realm generates blood devilish energy. The nether ghost realm creates ghostly energy. The ancient force realm produces spiritual energy infused with ancient force. Purple gold realm produces light black true energy, and the living beings within each realm cultivate using the energy unique to each realm. I see. Now that I think about it, that was indeed the case. Each middle realm produces a different type of heaven and earth spiritual energy. When one reaches true immortality, the energy they produce changes based on the immortal Tao or seat they follow, as well as the immortal art they have cultivated in the state of their inner world. In other words, all true immortals gain the authority to create their own unique energy within this Sumer world, establishing a new system of power. And ultimately, that is the true nature of the cultivation methods that mortal beings use. As I listen to Y's explanation, I observe the energy forming within me. Those who practice devilish arts convert heaven and earth spiritual energy into devilish energy for use, while those who cultivate ghost path methods transform it into ghostly energy. Conversely, those who follow orthodox Taoist family methods accumulate pure heaven and earth spiritual energy within their bodies. The very act of altering energy into a different form of power through cultivation methods is, in essence, an imitation of the authority systems of true immortals. In the end, every method of transforming energy, whether it belongs to the heaven tribe or the earth tribe, points back to the framework of true immortals. Horroric. Yi lifts a cluster of antimatter above her hand as she speaks. Even the method I cultivated up to the 4-axis stage was a demon beast method derived from the ancestor of my bloodline, Glass Peacock. That's why dual cultivation was a mandatory part of my cultivation, and also why I have such a fondness for dual cultivation. Wait, then your distant ancestors are Azure Pung and Glass Peacock? Yes, something like that. But because the generational gap is too vast, my immortal beast true blood has almost completely dried up. As a result, aside from a few demon beast methods, I have primarily cultivated heaven tribe methods. Wait, in my past life, Glass Peacock even went as far as Yeo. No, never mind. Let's not think about it. I shake my head, erasing my thoughts of Glass Peacock's absurd actions. Even now, despite having become a true immortal, just recalling Glass Peacock's behavior feels mentally polluting. Anyway, thanks. So, this is my own unique energy. I recommend giving it a name, if possible. A name. Yes. The moment you name your energy, it will become properly established, and it will provide a much more helpful path for Master's immortal Tao. Is this, too, an influence of the naming supreme deity? With that thought in mind, I contemplate my energy. Chijijijik. Poignant pain is embedded in the very nature of my spiritual energy. Not a physical pain, but a mental one. If absorbed passively, it induces sorrow, loneliness, and heartache for no particular reason. However, when observed calmly, the sorrow fades, leaving behind clarity and gratitude. Until now, I thought my mood was just like this. It seems that this energy has been influencing me all along. I gaze at the energy carrying these characteristics and smile. Come to think of it, the reason I have been able to come this far is all because of the countless connections of my past lives. All are precious to me, but among them, the one who supported me the most is, without a doubt, Hianghua. It was thanks to you. Was what I just gave you also pain? If not for my meeting with her, I surely would have become a monster no different from Yuanli. Every time I regressed, I would have consumed my comrades, extracting their essence to enhance my own talent, and turned their corpses into Jiangshi or Dharma treasures to wield as I pleased. I would have done whatever it took, by any means necessary, to enforce what I believed was right through sheer tyranny, protecting those dear to me through only my own ways. I would have become a pathetic madman, no different from my senior brother. So in truth, the only reason I have not become a crazed devilish cultivator is entirely because of her. Why we I stir up an interstellar wind, scattering the energy generated from within me into the surrounding space. It's not just Hianghua. The days I spent training in martial arts with Kim Young-hoon, the kiss I shared with Yan, the sight of Azure Tiger, Saint becoming a star, the will of Gu Ryan and Gu Beck, who never gave up their hearts even under their hatred for Xiao Huil, the heart of Hong Surayong, who chose to die by my hand of her own will, the smile of Xiao Li, buried in the past in my place, the legacy of the Salt Sea Supreme Deity, who chose me in the Nether Ghost Realm, the love of Mad Lord, who clung to his last shred of humanity even after becoming a monster, the final moments of Yunwei and Han-Wan, the last, sincere heart of Daoist Xiao, the unwavering loyalty of blood Yin towards the Imperial Venerable, the emotions of Jiang Ai towards me. All of these have made me who I am now. Therefore, the name of this energy is Life Sung. But then, I suddenly feel the cold murmur of someone striking my mind. You don't know either, Xiao Eunhyun, why you live, why others live, what it even means to be alive, what life even is. Don't speak so carelessly when you know nothing. I know nothing. That's right. Just as those words say, I do not know what life is. Then, how dare I name something with the word life? Sung. What is life? I know nothing. The name of this energy, I will decide later. Even if I were to gain the help of the name, the increase won't be significant. Well, I'm not a true immortal, so I wouldn't know for sure. Do as you please. With those words, Yeo Y flies off to capture Ham Jean in the distance. Even after Yeo Y disappears, I continue to mull over the question Oh Hyaseo threw at me for a long time. What is life? A new question has been given to my lonely and monotonous existence. Because of this darkness remains bearable. In this way, about 900 years pass after I realize that my energy is different from heaven and earth spiritual energy. It is now the 1000th year. Wawum. On the planets filled with my heaven and earth spiritual energy, proper dragon veins and star veins have begun to flow. At the same time, the overcompressed energies clump together and spirits, begin to be born on countless planets. It's the energies accumulating and merging, rising to the plane of soul. Then, at a certain moment, I confirm that life, Ming, is taking root in those spirits. So all the souls in this world are born in such a way. That day, I come to understand the secret of the birth of souls and spirits. At the same time, I realize that I have become a being capable of mass-producing souls and spirits as I please. This is a little terrifying. I have felt it to some degree since the sacred vessel stage, but this power is truly excessive. If this is the kind of power true immortals possess, then to ordinary true immortals, life must really be nothing more than a toy. Moreover, it is possible to bestow fate upon mortal beings, allowing endless adjustments to their lives. Truly, everything in the lower realms is nothing more than the toys of true immortals. Wawung. As I watch spirits being born on the planets, I sense that before long, living beings will actually come into existence in this world. At the same time, I realize that I can freely create and mass-produce the blueprints of life for the living beings that are born through me. During the sacred vessel stage advancement ritual, one usually creates the race to which they belong. But after becoming a true immortal, it becomes possible to freely edit the blueprint of life and create any living being or race one knows of. Perhaps it might even be possible starting from the entering nirvana stage. If it's an entering nirvana from the earth tribe who has mastered the plane of chi, it would take much longer than a true immortal, but it should still be possible. As I watch this unfold, I sink further into confusion. What is life? What exactly is living? If something that can be so easily stamped out, mass-produced, modified, and edited is life and fate, then just what exactly is this world? What meaning are we supposed to seek in this world? In this lonely, monotonous, and silent world, I ponder that question for a long time. And so, another 9,000 years pass. The 10,000th year. The planetary system I have created revolves around me. Once I create a fixed star, I will be able to place it where I stand and form a proper star system. Within the darkness, I condense heaven and earth's spiritual energy, steadily preparing to create a star. During the entering nirvana and sacred vessel stages, I did not understand it well. Back then, I completed my understanding of suns simply by mindlessly smashing apart fixed stars and planets. But now that I stand in the position of creation, I finally understand. Creation is billions of times harder than destruction. Entering nirvanas can create planets, but they struggle to craft the prophecies corresponding to those planets. True immortals can imbue planets with prophecies, but they find it difficult to create proper middle realms. Now I understand. A fixed star itself is essentially a middle realm. Of course, in terms of rank, it lacks the absoluteness of a true middle realm, which makes it difficult to destroy. It is lower in rank to cedarwood painting, which Kim Yun and I created from the patchwork corpses of true immortals. However, a fixed star can certainly fulfill the role of a middle realm, the role of providing light to living beings, the role of nurturing life with heaven and earth's spiritual energy, the role of offering a foundation for life with proper attraction force. A fixed star is, itself, akin to the sacred master of a middle realm. I am not simply creating a massive, scorching ball of fire. Now I finally understand. You are all, in truth, alive. I smile as I look upon the planets I have made. All stars are living beings, differing only in structure from organic life forms. And among them, the fixed stars that generate light. They are beings no different from sacred masters. As existences that grant life, they are beings filled with immense love and compassion. Yes, they are existences with a heart. The sun is, by its very nature, a true immortal. An existence that possesses a heart but lacks will, an innate true immortal. That is what a fixed star is. The cultivation of the Radiance 10 Heavens only ends upon the creation of 10 innate true immortals. Warurek. Even without anyone telling me, I understand. In the previous realms, I always learned cultivation methods from others, but in the realm of true immortality, the immortal Tao itself whispers wisdom to me. Warurek. Before I know it, blazing flames begin to form between my hands. Throughout this time, I have created countless planets and imbued them with prophecies. Those prophecies have accumulated and accumulated, now forming an innate true immortal. Warurek. Watching the burning seed of a fixed star take shape within my hands, I feel a sense of wonder. Within it, I sense a heart stronger than anything else. I gaze at it with a subtle smile, a faint light, gradually expanding within my hands. On the day this light is born, the spirits that had merely drifted across the surfaces of planets, stirring celestial phenomena, are now born into the world. The power of light caresses the particles on the planetary surfaces, and true life begins to emerge. Microorganisms have appeared. It is different from the sacred vessel stage advancement ritual. Back then, the beings that appeared were already present in the sun and moon heavenly domain. But this time, these beings have truly come into existence from the empty nothingness. Before I know it, Hamjin has reached the integration stage, gradually grasping the essence of immortal arts. Uy melts planetary surfaces with his Dan fire, experimenting with the creation of new minerals and materials. Yeoy still waits for the perfect opportunity to form a relationship with Hamjin, constantly searching for the right moment. Hong Fan, on the other hand, has all but severed contact with the outside world, slipping into a semi-dormant state. It seems he is calculating this space-time while in hibernation. Already, 10,000 years. As I observe their circumstances, I reflect on the time that has passed. 10,000 years have already gone by. In a span long enough for Yang Sujin to reach an ending 3 times over, I let out a quiet sigh. Perhaps by now, some of my comrades have already reached great net immortal. For some reason, a sense of frustration stirs within me, but I steady my heart. With my talent, the result is the same whether I am inside or outside. In that case, what I must do is not waver over meaningless facts, but continue walking this path. Steadily. Let's walk steadily. There is no need to waver. Because my family is my life. To abandon my family is to abandon my life. I deeply understand Yeoy's words. I do not want to die. I want to live. I want to enjoy life. This applies not only to Yi, but also to me. So, I will never abandon life. Never will I abandon my family, who are a part of my life. In this lonely, monotonous, silent, and colorless emptiness, I strengthen my resolve and continue my efforts to create fixed stars. 90,000 years pass. The 100,000th year. Karurum. Hamjin and Uy have finally reached the star-shattering stage. They become two moons, attaching themselves to one of the planets. That planet, now with 2 satellites, is currently experiencing the most rapid evolution of microorganisms. Under the guidance of the fate I have designated, living beings who will become the ancestors of humanity, along with countless other creatures necessary for human survival, are appearing. Now that Hamjin and Uy have become meaningful existences in my plan, Yi can no longer pursue Hamjin in an attempt to violate him. Instead, Yi only sends fervent signals of courtship towards Hamjin. Hamjin's surface is covered in a hazy mist. Whenever the mist catches the light, it scatters it in all directions, creating a profoundly mystical atmosphere. It seems to be the influence of an altered immortal art derived from filling the heavens' governing view. Uy's surface is extraordinarily dazzling. All kinds of gems and glass cover the ground. With his love for creating new minerals, Uy constantly blends and melts new materials or adorns his surface with beautiful minerals and treasures. Is it perhaps because of this? Recently, Yi has also started sending courtship signals to Uy. Though faint to the point of near disappearance, the remnants of Glass Peacock's blood still seem to boil within her. Hong Fan has, at some point, transformed into his true form inside me, coiling into hibernation. I can sense his consciousness accelerating within his lucid dream as he analyzes the space-time of emptiness. With his tail and head touching to form a perfect circle, Hong Fan in hibernation gives off an oddly blurred sensation. It may have something to do with the fact that he is considered the disgrace of the 3 heavenly venerables. As for me, I am gradually grasping a clear sense of the cultivation of the Radiance 10 Heavens. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTS. Immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. Endlessly reciting the mantra, I gaze up at the massive clump of fire above my head as I repentantly enlighten upon myself. Like tiny grains of salt gathering to form the sea. The energy I generate, when absorbed, induces depression, discomfort, immense mental exhaustion, and pain. But when observed calmly, it induces tranquility, clears the mind, and a deep sense of gratitude wells up. This is the result of my interpretation of my immortal Tao that is repentant enlightenment. Build mountains through repentant enlightenment. 100,000 years. Only after 100,000 years do I grasp it, the cultivation method of true immortals. As a mortal being, cultivation was simply absorbing energy, refining the will, and struggling to grasp the foundation of immortal arts. But it is different for true immortals. Continuously pushing through one's immortal Tao with the chi formed by their immortal Tao, or by their fate or soul. I constantly observe and repentantly enlighten upon my chi, continuously carrying through my chi upon the immortal Tao of repentant enlightenment. If the cultivation method of the lower boundary is accumulating energy, and the cultivation method of the middle boundary is accumulating will, then the cultivation method of the great boundary can be said to be the act of imprinting one's will upon the world itself. The more I push through repentant enlightenment, the more my energy moves according to my will, beginning to form a sun on its own. I can feel it. I gain an even deeper understanding of the origin of the chest pain. Previously, I only knew that the pain stemmed from trying to change the world purely with my will. But as I continue creating the sun, I come to understand the principle behind it. Jith thing. This world is composed of attraction force. The entirety of this world that is Mount Sumeru is formed through the attraction force emitted by the heavenly domains and those who exist within them. Prophecy is the act of adding one's own attraction force to the existing attraction force, subtly twisting the direction of the world. Ordinary true immortals consume the fortune they are born with to shift the world's flow, its attraction force. But I had long since exhausted my own fortune. At the end of the 0th cycle, all of my fortune vanished. In other words, I was born without any fortune. Therefore, I can only twist the world through my own faith and willpower. So that's what the way of salt is. The orthodox immortal art of twisting the world with the heart alone I learned from the Salt Sea Supreme Deity, Changmun Ryan. While ordinary true immortals use their innate fortune or plunder the fortune of others to perform natural prophecies, I use it in the form of immortal arts. Hence the pain. It hurts. I place my hand over my chest and gaze up at the gradually expanding sun. No prophecy comes without a price. True immortals are not omnipotent. To achieve the goals they desire, to attain their own happiness, they must seize another's fortune and bring calamity upon someone else. For every existence in this world, one cannot become happy without another falling into misfortune. In my case, the one suffering misfortune to achieve my will is none other than myself. The repentant enlightenment of carving away myself to build a mountain. That is my repentant enlightenment. In this solitude, in this monotonous, silent, colorless, and empty space-time. In this lonely, monotonous, silent, colorless, and meaningless space-time. I continue my repentant enlightenment while understanding Severing Mountain Swordsmanship's 36th move from a new perspective. And so, time continues to flow once more. I drift through darkness. A darkness where no one exists. Hong Fan has long abandoned the pursuit of cultivation, focusing solely on analyzing space-time. And, after countless eons, Hamjin and Yu have finally reached the sacred vessel stage. They voluntarily become my immortal treasures, allowing me to properly communicate with them. The fixed star is nearing completion. However, my heart has been long worn away. How many years have passed? Yi says that about 1,000,000 years have gone by. 1,000,000 years. It's 1,000,000 years. It is a span of time longer than my entire combined lifetimes. Of course, cases like this have occurred quite frequently. I'm referring to spending a time longer than all my lives combined in strange places. During that time, I have nearly completed a fixed star and pushed my understanding of the immortal Tao of repentant enlightenment deeply into the world. And as a result, the fixed star I created has begun to hold a fate. That fate is a fate that assists the immortal Tao of repentant enlightenment. Interesting. Building upon oneself is repentant enlightenment. But in the end, I receive the assistance of fate. Yes, that is it. That is all there is. What I have gained, in this stale darkness, is only that. Huaoewa. I let out a scream, feeling as if my mind is about to break apart. Hamjin, Yu, and Yi flinch in shock and rush over to comfort me. But I feel no solace at all. Yu, until when? Badudaduk. Until when? Until when do I have to keep being like this, powerlessly? It is not the fear of crouching in this darkness like an idiot that terrifies me. What is most terrifying, horrifying, and unbearable is that my comrades, after all this endless time, I have no idea of knowing whether they are dead or alive. That the connections I hold dear, I have no idea of knowing what has become of them or what they are doing beyond this pitch-black darkness. That is what is driving me mad. What is life? Ohio's question still haunts me. I thought that through repentant enlightenment, I might find the answer. But no one is here. And yet how long am I supposed to keep carving away at myself to build this mountain? Until when? Master, please calm yourself. Master, teacher, Yi, Yu, and Hamjin fly to me, trying to restrain me, but I clutch my head as I violently shake the surroundings using attraction force as if I've lost my mind. What am I supposed to do? Hong Fan, I can't wake him and disturb him. My precious people, I don't even know if they are alive or dead. I have no way of knowing what's happening outside. If only I could be tortured instead. I would rather be tortured. Please, just what? Just what is the difference between this and being taxidermized by the heavenly venerable of the underworld? Only now do I begin to understand, with crushing clarity, the words endless eternity that came from Hien Mu's mouth. If there were others, equal others, many precious others, if I could exchange connections with them, I could definitely endure even 10,000,000 years. But in this space-time, there is nothing. Yi, Hamjin, and Yu do not share a relationship with me. They simply revere me. To be the object of worship can never create an equal relationship. The only one with whom I have formed a certain relationship with, Hong Fan, chose to forsake advancing his own cultivation and is in deep hibernation, putting forth immense effort. I cannot wake him in this state. The stellar system is nearly complete, yet the microorganisms within it can never be subjects of communication. No, even if they were to evolve into humans. Would they be able to communicate with me? Would they be able to understand even a fraction of my worries, my suffering? In this dark and stale silence, just who could possibly understand me? I raise my hand towards the nearly completed fixed star. Kugugugugu. My will is imbued into the fixed star, and so is my immortal Tao. Flames with higher temperatures burn blue. Thus, the fixed star glows blue-white. Where? I blankly stare at the burning fixed star in this space-time of emptiness, marking the conclusion of the first stage of the Radiance 10 Heavens cultivation. Flash. The fixed star settles in the place where I stand, pulling entire planets with its attraction force and forming a stellar system. Wu-wong. Yes, at the very least, you are my only understanding companion. I let out a quiet murmur and sit cross-legged on the surface of the fixed star, a sphere of light, no different from my own child. Suiat. I sense the immortal Tao of repentant enlightenment resonating with the sphere of light and blankly gaze into its depths. For a brief moment, the image of a deep blue snake biting its tail, seems to flash within the light. The moment my first fixed star is completed, among the 14 planets I created, the 7 with the most living beings undergo a tremendous evolution. Everywhere, vegetation begins to flourish. The power of wood, drawing nourishment from the light, breathes life and fully blooms. Vast forests take root upon the planets. Watching this unfold, I gently caress the fixed star I have created with care. For now, I just want to be alone with this one. At my command, my 3 immortal treasures, Yi, Hamjin, and Uy, exchange slightly concerned glances before disappearing from sight. But they have no need to worry. The moment the fixed star was completed, my heart gained great peace. Something about this light feels as if it might pull my very mind into its depths. The millionth year. In this lonely, monotonous, silent, colorless, meaningless, dark, stale, and desolate space-time. As I see the light completed after 1,000,000 years, my heart begins to gradually lose to its radiance. Chapter 579, Radiance Ten Heavens, Gongming 8. Is everyone gathered? Deep beneath the surface of a planet untouched by light, 3 figures stand together in the darkness. A woman clad in black jaggery and skirt. A boy dressed in black martial attire. A man draped in a black robe. They are, respectively, the immortal treasures of the crystal glass being, Seo Un-hyun. Twin constructing chains, Yi. Unruly chain, Hamjin. Obsidian chain, Uy. Chijik. As Uy snaps his fingers, one of the minerals he had created bursts into flames, illuminating the surroundings. The mineral, which emanates a faint, ghostly energy, causes ghostly shadows to ripple whenever its flickering light wavers. The shadows growl as if alive, opening their mouths as if to devour those who have summoned them. But the moment their gazes meet those of the 3 beings, the ghosts recoil in terror, trembling as they suppress their presence. Cute little things. Did you call that mineral ghost firestone? Yes, senior. It's in or formed by compressing ghostly creatures. When pressure is applied, it ignites, and the ghostly creatures that escape from the ghost firestone can be commanded to sing or serve. Of course, it can also be used to set up a barrier so that no one can eavesdrop like this. Whoa. At Uy's glance, the quivering ghosts spread out, shrouding the surrounding space in darkness and forming a barrier beyond the shadows. The inner and outer spaces are completely cut off. Not bad. Send me some later. Better yet, if you bring them to my quarters yourself, I'd be very pleased. Yi sends Uy a subtle look, but Uy awkwardly averts his gaze and turns to Hamjin. Hamjin, that aside, calling us here like this must mean you've confirmed it. At Uy's words, the boy in black martial attire, Hamjin, nods grimly. Yes, the confirmation is complete. Teacher, the words that follow darken not only Uy's expression, but also Yi's. Has completely succumbed to madness. It has already been 4,000,000 years since they first began serving Seo Un-hyun in this space-time of emptiness. During that time, Seo Un-hyun has created 4 fixed stars, forming 4 stellar systems where he has given birth to living beings, transmitted the system of immortal cultivation, and made it so cultivators were born. Though Seo Un-hyun is incapable of communicating with them properly, his 3 immortal treasures who are directly connected to him have carried out his orders, overseeing and guiding the cultivators. As a result, the 4 stellar systems have now produced their first integration stage cultivators. However, Teacher's madness first became evident 3,000,000 years ago, when he created the first fixed star. At some point, Seo Un-hyun's mind began to become unstable. Despite Uy, Hamjin, and Yi offering mantras on his behalf, he paid them no heed, utterly engrossed in the act of creating fixed stars and continuously revealing his madness. His condition has only worsened since. Yet, we still held on to hope. He was mad to some extent, but we had hope that one day he would regain his mind and once again become our pillar of support. That was what we believed, but I finished confirming it today. With a darkened expression, Hamjin speaks the truth he uncovered before gathering here. Teacher no longer wishes to leave this place. The radiant figure he once was is gone. The one who worried for his comrades outside has disappeared, leaving behind only a being obsessed with the creation of fixed stars. He has become nothing more than a mechanical construct. He grits his teeth. There are no signs of his madness improving. And on top of that, you both know it as well. Yes, he has scattered, filling the heavens governing view across his entire stellar system. Uy's face darkens as he exhales a heavy sigh. Hamjin nods and speaks. It is practically an absolute restriction in which no one can advance to the star-shattering stage and above. The thought of quickly raising someone to true immortality and having them take over in order to escape has long been completely abandoned. And we, too, due to the overwhelming will of filling the heavens governing view, have effectively had our advancement to true immortality completely blocked. How did he fall so far? Once, he was our steadfast pillar, a fearsome presence yet the master we could trust. Hamjin and Uy let out heavy sighs of concern, while Yeoy scoffs and crosses her arms. Oomph. I knew from the very start that he wasn't in his right mind. That guy was a monster from the beginning. He was never normal. It's not that the guy who had once gone crazy regained his sanity while still in that state. Rather, he went crazy once again in a different way, making him appear somewhat sane as a result. What nonsense. Even so, show some respect when speaking of Master, Senior Yeoy. Do not misunderstand. I followed the crystal glass being because I was firmly convinced he was the second coming of Vast Cold. I do not hold loyalty to him unlike you two. In fact, I am older than the crystal glass being, and if we count only cultivation years, I am a senior to him by far. If I had foreseen with my own insight that the madness the crystal glass being carries would escalate to this extent, I wouldn't have followed him. Hamjin glares at Yeoy, gritting his teeth before letting out a deep sigh. Right now, I'd like nothing more than to hang you upside down and beat you senseless. But as this is not the time, I will hold back. Regardless of whether Senior Yeoy truly believes in and follows teacher, we must bring him back to his senses. You will cooperate with us in this, won't you? Of course. That goes without saying. I have no intention of rotting away in this bizarre space-time for eternity. I finally managed to step outside the sun and moon heavenly domain. And yet, to think I can't even go around different heavenly domains, kidnapping beautiful men and women to enjoy. Instead, I'm stuck here, confined in this cramped place? Absolutely not. Yeoy lets out a sigh, looking as if she might die from frustration. Hamjin massages his temples as if a headache is forming before speaking again. I have no interest in Senior's lustful pursuits. In any case, now that we've confirmed teacher has fully succumbed to madness, do you have any useful advice as a senior? Impudent brat. I was going to tell you even if you didn't ask. Even though I look like this, I was personally chosen by the Northern Dipper 7 Heavenly Lords and granted entry to the Source River. I know most information worth knowing. She nods confidently and conjures an illusion in the void. It is a three-dimensional model of the stellar systems they currently reside in. There are a total of 4 existing stellar systems, with a 5th one steadily being prepared to be created. For convenience, I'll refer to the stellar systems the crystal glass being has created as the crystal glass realm. This model perfectly replicates the vast majority of the attraction force, chi, soul, and fate within the crystal glass realm, so pay close attention. Woo-wong. As Yeoy gestures, the three-dimensional model begins to change. In an instant, it shifts into something strange, shrouded in a cloud of dust. If what you saw before was the crystal glass realm on the plane of chi, this is the crystal glass realm on the plane of soul. The brightest light in the center of this dust cloud is the crystal glass being. Right now, the crystal glass realm is entirely under the crystal glass being's will, and that will has become attraction force, preventing any of us from leaving the crystal glass realm. It's teacher's madness. Hamjin lets out a murmur. The current Seo Eunhyun is consumed by madness, scattering filling the heavens governing view across the entire crystal glass realm. No one can reach the integration stage or higher. And no one can escape beyond the crystal realm, beyond the distant space-time of emptiness. By adding his attraction force into filling the heavens governing view, Seo Eunhyun has created a powerful barrier that effectively seals the entire crystal glass realm. He mutters about how no one understands him, yet at the same time, he doesn't want anyone to leave him. This contradiction in teacher's heart and his madness have amplified to its peak, becoming this barrier. That's right. And that's not all. Look, Yeoy points somewhere with her finger. On the three-dimensional model representing the plane of soul, 4 other clumps of light ripple besides Seo Eunhyun. Those 4 lights. They are the 4 fixed stars the crystal glass being created so far. Do you see them? Hamjin furrows his brows. He can see them clearly. Each of the 4 stars exhibits a distinct flow, all of which connects to the light that is Seo Eunhyun at the center, influencing him in some way. The fixed stars are influencing teacher. That's right. Now then, shall we move on to the next stage? Woo-wong. Yeoy moves her hand, and the plane of fate of the crystal glass realm appears in the three-dimensional model. In the space overflowing with light, several symbols exist. Candle flame that is the merging of glass, true fire, and aurora. Surrounding it are the symbols of the countless planets and star veins. Lastly, there are the symbols of snakes, tightly coiling around the star veins. Blue snake biting its tail. Blue-white snake biting its tail. Red vermilion snake biting its tail. Soft vermilion snake biting its tail. A total of 4 snakes are radiating light. Life is ultimately symbolized by Radiance Hall. As the rulers of the world, they oversee the first stage of true immortality, vestige liberation immortal. The symbol of Radiance Hall is the black snake biting its tail. And the rulers of Radiance Hall, the Radiance 8 Immortals, each oversee one of the fixed stars that correspond to the realm formula of Vestige Liberation Immortal, the Radiance 10 Heavens. All except for the 5th and 6th fixed stars. In any case, they are the most powerful force among all factions in the true immortal realm, exerting immense influence over all true immortals passing through Vestige Liberation Immortal. That means, yes, right now, the crystal glass being is being eroded by the authority of Radiance Hall. The Radiance Supreme Deity must be exerting their strength. There's a high probability it's an attempt to suppress the crystal glass being, who was once called the Return of Vast Cold, by directly eroding him and amplifying his madness. At the mention of a governing immortal's presence, Hamjin and Uy cough up mouthfuls of blood-red spiritual energy, clenching their teeth. Then, are you saying that in order to save Teacher, we must fight the owner of Radiance Hall, the God of Light? That's about right. At Yeoy's words, Hamjin and Uy exhale heavy sighs, their expressions darkening. Yeoy watches them and smirks. But don't worry too much. The Radiant Supreme Deity is hardly an idle being. Do you really think they'd remain stuck to the crystal glass being? Besides, this place is within the authority domain of a heavenly venerable. The Radiant Supreme Deity's power surely won't reach easily here. So there's still a chance. What must we do? There's only one way. If the crystal glass being's madness stems from the formula of the Radiance 10 Heavens, then there's really only one option. At Yeoy's next words, Hamjin and Uy's eyes widen. We have to smash all of the crystal glass being's fixed stars into cosmic dust. Once freed from the light of the Radiance 10 Heavens, unless the Radiance Supreme Deity is literally parasitizing his body, his mind will definitely return. Hearing Yeoy's words, the two let out a groan. Do you really think that makes sense, Senior Yeoy? Master is the one who was called the Return of Vast Cold. And yet, how are we supposed to destroy the fixed stars that Master cherishes like his own children? Fools, are you going to tuck your tails and give up without even trying? Something about Yeoy's confident tone makes Hamjin and Uy's eyes gleam. Do you have a plan? Rather than a plan, we just have to be willing to do whatever it takes. Compared to true immortals, we may lack strength and time, but if we are willing to spend centuries, we can still create a prophecy. Through this, we will mass-produce star-shattering stage cultivators. Then, we will use them as suicide bombs to go against the crystal glass being. Right now, in his current state of madness, the crystal glass being will only unleash his wrath upon the suicide bombs and their bloodline. If we manipulate fate carefully from behind the scenes, he will never know we betrayed him. Hamjin and Uy shake their heads in shock at Yeoy's scheme. That's unacceptable. It's too much of the cruel, devilish path. No matter the situation, such a ruthless plan is intolerable. Huh. Well, look at that. We have some ridiculously kind young masters here. Do you plan to stay here for 1,000 years? 10,000? 100 million? Right now, you two are blocked from advancing to entering nirvana by filling the heavens governing view. Are you saying you will spend eternity locked away in this space-time alongside Seo Eun-hyun, who has gone mad? If you two can't do it, then I will do it myself. She rises from her seat, shouting at Hamjin and Uy. At that moment, Hamjin stands and tightly grabs Yeoy's wrist. I told you it is not happening. Even if it takes millions of years, I cannot allow that plan. For a moment, Hamjin and Yeoy lock eyes. The tension is so thick it feels like a fight could break out at any moment. Just then, Uy notices something strange flickering inside the ghost firestone he created. Within the ghost firestone, condensed from ghostly creatures who were killed with grievances. A faint illusion of a mountain piled with corpses and a sea filled with blood flickers. It is the scenery of Corpse Mountain Blood Sea, and the moment Uy perceives it, woo-woo. Beneath the place they stand, centered around the ghost firestone, a strange energy of Taiji seems to swirl before a dark red shadow emerges with the stench of blood. What? Despite the barrier. Who are you? The three immortal treasures shout towards the dark red shadow, and the figure smirks. Immortal treasures harboring treacherous hearts. Does your master know of this? You who are? Just as Hamjin is about to shout in anger, Yeoy hurriedly steps in front of Hamjin and bows to the dark red shadow. So it is the esteemed figure I encountered back then. 4 million years ago, in the Source River, the being who received the patronage of the mountain god. It seems you have risen to true immortality. My sincere congratulations on your ascension. Yeoy's eyes shine brighter than ever. She remembers this dark red figure. Oh hi Seo. 4 million years ago, when she entered the Source River to rescue Seo Eun-hyun, she had seen this entity. Even back then, she was a peculiar existence who, despite only being at the entering nirvana stage, received the protection of the great mountain supreme deity. Now, 4 million years later, To be able to intrude into the space-time of the owner of Void, there is no doubt they have reached a high realm. Holding on to a glimmer of hope, Yi speaks. Perhaps, would you be able to get me out of here? If you take me out, I will immediately betray the crystal glass being and pledge my loyalty. If you wish, I will even offer my body. Ehehe. Hamjin shoots her a look of pure contempt, while Yu's face twists in displeasure. But Ohiasio merely chuckles. Well, I'd say it's better if you don't leave. Right now, you are in an incredibly safe space. If you knew what kind of great war is raging across the entire 3,000 great thousand worlds, I don't think you would want to step outside. At those words, Yi flinches in surprise and asks, what on earth is happening outside? I have no reason to tell you, but I'll at least let you know this. Radiance Hall and the entirety of Mount Sumeru have been waging a colossal war for hundreds of thousands of years. The Heavenly Venerable of the Void and the Sao Tree Heavenly Venerable have suffered devastating damage from the Radiance 8 Immortals and have gone into seclusion. That's why I was able to interfere in the space of a Heavenly Venerable for a brief moment. Kukik, Radiance Hall is truly amazing. Only the Source River, that is no different from mere scrap, is siding with Radiance Hall, yet with just them, they are overwhelming all of Mount Sumeru. Upon learning that the Source River is on the side of Radiance Hall, Yi trembles as if wanting to rush out immediately. Ui, who has learned the Ghost Path method, frowns in suspicion. From what I know, the God of Death isn't so lacking compared to the God of Light. Are you saying that even the underworld is being pushed back that badly? The underworld is Kukukuk. Currently, all the Reapers have left for the outer sea in search of something. Did they say Penglai Island? I heard they are searching for something like that, but I'm not sure. Only the Heavenly Venerable of the underworld remains, maintaining the underworld while watching the situation. Then, does that mean the underworld has not joined the war? Excluding the faction of time, have all the forces of Mount Sumeru betrayed Radiance Hall? Like I said, I have no reason to give you any information. I merely explained the situation a little. Anyway, in this chaotic turmoil, do you truly intend to leave this safe shelter? At Ohiasio's words, Yi and Ui let out a faint sigh, seemingly deep in thought. However, Hamjin asks Ohiasio without hesitation, can you get us and our master out of here? As I said, since the Heavenly Venerable of the Void suffered devastating damage, if I offer part of my corpse mountain blood sea as a sacrifice, I can manage someone like you. But, what realm has Seo Unhyun currently reached? At Ohiasio's question, Hamjin contemplates deeply for a while before answering. Vestige Liberation Immortal. Master has currently progressed through 4/10 of the realm formula for Vestige Liberation Immortal, that is the Radiance 10 Heavens. Radiance 10 Heavens? Vestige Liberation Immortal? 4/10? Ha ha! Ohiasio's shadow clutches its stomach and bursts into laughter, as if it finds this unbearably amusing. This is so funny I might go insane. Has being trapped in this space degenerated his talent? Where has that terrifying monster gone, leaving behind only this worthless failure? Good, this is very good. Fine. I'll get your master out too. But there is a condition. Ohiasio's shadow smirks as she makes an offer to the Immortal's treasures. Create a descent formation to descend my will into this space. Using resentment and suffering as a medium would be ideal. This mineral would be best. If you do so, I will descend a portion of my will into this place and gradually help you escape through prophecy. I will help Seo Unhyun escape too. However, there is a condition. What condition? Seo Unhyun is currently cultivating the Radiance 10 Heavens, correct? From the moment one starts cultivating the Radiance 10 Heavens, the fixed stars created by the true immortal become one body with them. Because of this, pulling insignificant beings like you out is easy, but Seo Unhyun's own original mass, combined with the mass of those fixed stars, makes extracting him exponentially more difficult. At her words, Ui and Yi flinch. Destroy the fixed stars Seo Unhyun created. I will help you. Whether it takes tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of years, it doesn't matter. Just erase the fixed stars. If you do so, I will take you out. That's... Hey Hamjin. This offer. Ui and Yi look at Hamjin. Perhaps they feel that despite everything, betraying Seo Unhyun according to Ohiasio's suggestion feels a bit too much. But what comes out of Hamjin's mouth is something unexpected. I understand. We will do as you say. Hamjin. Then, please provide the descent formation technique and the necessary information to descend the distinguished one's will. We will proceed with the plan based on those. Aha, good. If the plan succeeds, I will finally see the face I have longed to see. Seo Unhyun. Revealing an intense killing intent towards Seo Unhyun, Ohiasio transmits the information to Hamjin and disappears. Chijijik. Ui's ghost firestone that Ohiasio used to transmit her will crumbles into dust. However, Eoy and Uy turn to Hamjin and ask, "This is quite a surprise. I never thought you would betray the crystal glass being. Why did you make that decision, Hamjin? Aren't you someone who can at least be called master's disciple? The heart that Ohio person has is definitely not a good heart. In this presence, she is at least a great net immortal. Why did you accept the offer not knowing what someone at the level of a great net immortal might do to our vestige liberation immortal master?" At Uy's sharp rebuke, Hamjin smiles. "Did you not notice Uy? What? That being is afraid of teacher. What? Even if their realm has surpassed teacher's, teacher is strong. Teacher's true body is in the weight class of a great net immortal. His authority may differ slightly, but in an actual fight against a great net immortal, teacher would still have a considerable chance of winning. Furthermore, I felt a deep-seated hatred towards teacher, and just as deeply rooted, a sense of fear. At some point, they must have suffered greatly at his hands." As Hamjin continues, Eoy and Uy's expressions gradually shift to one of understanding. They talk about the mass of the Radiance Ten Heavens, but in truth, they want to collapse the fixed stars that teacher created to inflict the maximum shock against him through that reaction. Even though teacher is in the weight class of a great net immortal, if he were to suddenly lose the innate true immortals he created all at once, the backlash would significantly weaken him, which means they have no confidence in facing teacher in his normal state. But if he were weakened, they think facing teacher is worth attempting. Isn't that right? Hamjin continues his explanation. They must be sincere in taking out the weakened teacher and us. The deeply rooted loathing, that hatred, it was truly the look of someone who has a grudge that must be resolved with teacher. Perhaps she lost someone precious to teacher. That's right. At the time, I was at the entering nirvana stage, so I had a rough understanding of the situation. As far as I know, she lost her husband to the crystal glass being. That makes it even more certain. That existence will definitely get us out, if only for the sake of revenge, even if it means weakening teacher. But that Ohio person is making a massive miscalculation. Hamjin smiles. It's actually the opposite. Teacher is actually at his weakest right now. Because he is steeped in madness and his will has become fragile, this is the moment he is at his weakest. So, on the contrary, if we eliminate the fixed stars of the Radiance Ten Heavens, the very source of his madness, he will overcome the madness and become even stronger? Is that what you think? That's right. But Uy asks again as if confused. But no matter what, those fixed stars are no different from the prophecies one utters. Those fixed stars have become one body with Master. Even if his will were to grow a little stronger, can Master really defeat that existence in his weakened state? He can, Uy. On what basis? My immortal art originates from teacher. That is why I know. Teacher is someone who can become the strongest purely through his will alone. But conversely, when his will falters and he succumbs to madness, he becomes significantly weaker. That is who teacher is. At Hamjin's words, Eoy crosses her arms and speaks. This is quite. Then, everything is working out well. Like curing poison with poison, huh? You could say so. We will use the power of Ohio, who is targeting teacher, to erase the fixed stars that are the origin of his madness. And when we are taken out by Ohio during the moment when teacher is weakened, teacher will undoubtedly emerge victorious. Hamjin's eyes are filled with absolute confidence. Seeing such a Hamjin, Uy nods. All right, if you are going to speak that much, I will trust you. Then I will go and bring back more ghost firestones. Decide where we will place the descent formation that will descend Ohio's will. All right, thanks. Uy turns into a shadow and vanishes from the spot, while Hamjin turns into mist, bows to Eoy, and disappears as well. Watching their departure from deep underground, she smiles subtly. She gently rubs her wrist, where Hamjin had tightly grasped her moments ago, as her cheeks blush. That little cutie has grown so much. Very well, Hamjin. I will keep watching you, and strive to move together with you. Muttering to herself, she, too, vanishes from the spot like the others. 4 million years since the crystal glass being Seo Eunhyun became trapped in the space-time of emptiness. Seo Eunhyun's 3 immortal treasures devised a plan of poison counteracting poison by using Ohio, who hates Seo Eunhyun, to remove Seo Eunhyun's madness. And following their plan, Ohio's will and a portion of her authority gradually begins descending upon the crystal glass realm. On a planet in the remote corner of the crystal glass realm. There, the energy of Corpse Mountain Blood Sea begins to overflow. Guak-am. I suddenly think of the great mountain supreme deity in the darkness and stare blankly into the void. There is no one. It must have been an illusion. Did I lose consciousness again? Lately, my consciousness has been flickering in and out more often. But it doesn't matter. It's only when I lose consciousness do I feel as if I am embraced by light, enveloped in warm happiness. Where was I? With blurred eyes, I look at the 4 fixed stars I have created. Right? I made the fixed stars of great forest, flower plant, great sun, torch candle. Through the wisdom the immortal Tao whispers to me. I murmur the name of the next fixed star I must create. Next is the light of castle wall. The 5th light. The fixed star of castle wall. Wu-wong. Resisting the attraction force of the Sumru world, I endure the pain coursing through my entire body. At the same time, the light that will become the foundation for castle wall begins to form in my hand. It's warm. Just like all the lights I've created so far, this warm light will welcome me. Gazing at the golden light being born in my hands, I let myself be drawn into the light just as before. But at that very moment, inside the golden light, I see something. It is a snake. Each time I have created a fixed star, I have always seen the form of a snake biting its tail. Seeing the form of a snake appear this time again is only natural, but I feel strange. Because this snake is not biting its tail. As I look at this peculiar snake, which is slightly different from all the others I have seen before, I feel an inexplicable deep sense of longing. This snake is a yellow snake. Chapter 580, Radiance 10 Heavens, Gonging Shiga. 9. Inside a warm light, I see a yellow snake, illuminated within, feeling as if I am being drawn toward it. And then, at some moment, I suddenly snap to my senses. Inside a dark, enclosed chamber, I am hanging upside down. Where is this? Why am I like this? Kiik. Just as I am lost in thought, the door to the chamber creaks open, and a familiar face appears. Master, it is Chongmun Ryong. He glances down at me briefly before raising a 6-sided club. Master. Before I can even ask a question, Chongmun Ryong begins beating me mercilessly with the 6-sided club. Kwa. Master, why in the world are you doing this? Utterly unable to comprehend the situation, I cry out for an explanation. You scoundrel, do you not know your own sins? But Chongmun Ryong rebukes me coldly and continues to beat me relentlessly. I can do nothing but scream under my master's blows. Kwa. Master, please spare me. Kihuk, kook. Strangely, the blows themselves are not particularly forceful. Yet, my master's beating is excruciatingly painful. I have always had a high tolerance for pain, but his blows bypass all my resistance as if landing directly on something fundamental within me. After being beaten for a long time, I hang there, gasping for breath. Ku. Chwak. My master splashes water onto my upside-down body and asks, do you not repent your sins, even a little? And master, I look at the 6-sided club still in his hand and cry out urgently. This disciple. I believe I have lost my memory. I truly do not know why I am being beaten. Please, tell me the reason. Hearing my question, master tilts his head, bending down to meet my eyes. At that moment, I notice something strange. The reflection of myself in master's eyes looks off. Why? Why do I feel strange? I see. You are not Guak Am. Pardon. At the mention of the name Guak Am, a pain pierces my head. For some reason, the bandaged face reflected in Chongmun Ryong's eyes feels strange and unfamiliar. Who is Chongmun Ryong? My master's name is not Chongmun Ryong. My body trembles at the sudden surge of confusion. No ordinary being could possess my disciple. That means someone with the same connection. I see. A disciple from the future? It is impossible for a future existence to come to the past. So, I see. Is it a lingering thought left in the past? I understand now. I was defeated. This is a dream. I am merely a lingering thought. Muttering incomprehensible words, master nods before waving his hand. Tongue, quadadang. The rope binding me is cut, and I am freed from my suspended state. And master, let's see. Regardless, to connect to my lingering thought, there must be a medium. What could it have been? Did you say you lost your memory? Do you remember the last thing you saw before that happened? Pardon? I think I saw a yellow snake. If it was a snake, it must be one of two things. Either you were in the middle of the vestige liberation immortal cultivation, or you charged into the snake den and gazed directly into the origin essence of light. If you intruded into the snake den, it could be an urgent situation, so I will wake you. Pardon. As I look up at master, not understanding his words, he raises the 6-sided club high, then brings it down onto the crown of my head with full force. Quang. Kwa. An overwhelming pain floods my entire body. I clutch my head and roll on the floor. Master clicks his tongue as he watches me. I intended to awaken you by amplifying your sense of crisis, but seeing as you don't feel any urgency, you must be in a safe place, simply cultivating as a vestige liberation immortal. Your mind already looked somewhat unstable, so you must have witnessed a great number of snakes during your cultivation. I don't understand what you mean. I can't remember anything. Master clicks his tongue and speaks. That's expected. If you saw the snake, multiple times, this is inevitable. Whatever. If the outside is safe, there is no need to wake you immediately. Stay for a few days and reflect upon yourself. Having finished speaking, Master leaves the room. Instinctively, I move to follow him. Master, let me go with you. As I step out of the chamber, what I see is a small wooden storage shed. Beside it stands an old, thatched house, and Master sits on its wooden porch and begins grinding ink on an inkstone. Watching him, I instinctively fetch water from a well and fill his water dropper. It feels like a habit ingrained into my body. Alongside the ink, Master prepares other pigments and begins painting something on paper. It is a tingwa. As I silently watch him, Master patiently explains. This is a hobby a friend of mine taught me. A Buddhist tingwa is not merely a depiction of divine beings. It captures the meanings they embody. Suruk. Moving his brush slowly, he continues. All things in this world are shaped by meaning. Therefore, if one understands the meaning of the world, anything can be painted as a tingwa. In a way, everything in the universe, every affair of this world, is a Buddha. His words seem to carry an inexplicable wisdom. There, it is finished. Though it feels like he barely moved his brush, a completed tingwa now rests beneath his hand. At the center is a wheel of starlight engraved with the 3 great ultimates. The wheel burns above a small candle flame, while the shadows beneath the candle take the form of a black snake biting its tail, glaring at the wheel of starlight. What do you see in my drawing? Master strokes his goatee and glances at me as he asks. But I simply stare at the tingwa for a long while, unable to open my mouth. An inexplicable wisdom seems to be embedded in the drawing. I will ask again. What do you see in what I have drawn? Circle. I see 3 circles. On the outermost, the black snake biting its tail. In the middle, the wheel of starlight. At the very center, the white 3 great ultimates. The 3 circles seem to be the core of this tingwa. Your eyes are keen. You pierce through the diagram at a glance. It is a diagram that cannot be understood without effort to the point of bleeding from one's hands. You must be someone who has put in significant effort. Pardon, I cannot follow Master's words at all. Why is he speaking as if he's seeing me for the first time? But is that all you see? When I focus on the center of the 3 great ultimates, I seem to see something more. It seems to be using an optical illusion. As the curves of the drawing shift, it seems to show some kind of Dharma statue. That Dharma statue, which Buddha is it? Well, that, I will not tell you. For now, take this. Yes. I receive the tingwa Master hands me. From today onward, always carry this tingwa close to your chest. Whenever you have time, look at it. If you do so, you will one day understand the true identity of that Dharma statue. Yes, I will follow your command. Then for now, let us do what we always do to recover your memories. Yes, please teach me. This disciple will definitely recover my memories. Sweep the yard. Pardon, I said sweep the yard. Following Master's command, I fetch a broom and begin sweeping the yard. Inside the thatched house, there are 1 or 2 trees whose names I cannot recall, and their fallen leaves are scattered everywhere. I sweep up all the leaves, making the yard spotless. Once I finish sweeping, Master orders me to clean the rooms. After cleaning the rooms, I carefully take out Master's valuables and wipe each one carefully, just as instructed. Master carries an unusual number of mirrors, and I always make sure to wipe them thoroughly, keeping them clear. Once cleaning is done, the evening marks the beginning of meditation time. Master and I sit beneath a tree with a mirror in front of us, meeting our own gazes within the reflection as we meditate. When I stare into the mirror for long enough, countless stray thoughts and anxieties arise. Each time, Master instructs me to wipe them away just as I clean the mirrors and sweep the yard. From evening until the next morning, we sit beneath the tree, endlessly reflecting on ourselves. And so, several days pass. Sock. That day, as always, I finish sweeping the yard before beginning to clean the rooms. While cleaning the rooms, I suddenly discover something inside Master's wardrobe. 2 golden masks. What is this? For some reason, they are masks that feel familiar, as if I have seen them before. Suruk. Using the cloth I was wiping the mirrors with, I polished the surface of the masks. A subtle golden radiance seems to emanate from them. I do not know if they are made of real gold, but they appear extremely valuable. Looking closely, I notice a barely visible engraving of a yellow snake biting its tail on the front of the masks. The engraving is so faint that it would be impossible to notice without careful observation. On the back of each mask, at the forehead area, the characters Mu, Bu, and Gi are etched. For some reason, as I continue staring at the masks, I feel as though I am being sucked into them. I feel an inexplicable impulse to put the mask on my face right away. However, when I suddenly see my face reflected on the surface of the mask, I flinch and shudder. The meditation I have been doing in front of the mirror for the past few days. That meditation has helped. I clear away the stray thoughts of wanting to wear the mask, just as if I were wiping a mirror or sweeping the yard, freeing myself from the desire the mask instills. Just as I escape the mask's temptation, Master appears behind me. Why have you taken that out? Master, you've arrived. I apologize. Somehow, looking at the mask brought back some thoughts. I was wondering if it might be connected to my memories, so I was looking at it for a moment. As if that could be the case. It has nothing to do with you. Master strokes his goatee and clicks his tongue. Staring at the mask, I ask in puzzlement. What is this mask? One is a retirement keepsake I took from my old workplace. The other is something I stripped from Guac AM. I warned Guac AM never to put it on again, but who knows if Guac AM is obeying that now. If you understand, put it back where it belongs. I may have crushed the snake's form and put it in my palm, but a snake is still a snake. If you're careless, it will bewitch you. Following my master's command, I return the masks to their place and wipe down the other mirrors. After finishing the room cleaning and stepping outside, I see Master drawing another tenghua. What are you drawing, Master? Seeing that mask just now brought back old memories. So, I decided to paint a scene from the past. In Master's tenghua, two figures resembling kings are depicted, each clad in golden dragon robes, wearing golden myanguins, and donning golden masks. One figure's robe bears the character Mu, Lu, while the other's bears the character Gi. This is from when I was in the snake den. The one beside me is Guac AM. Back then, there was nothing I feared in the world, but once I left the snake den, I realized how terrifying the world truly is. The place called the snake den. It sounds like Master's old workplace. It seems like a good place, so why did Master leave? Because I was too curious. The secret of the heart my friend who taught me about the tenghua whispered to me. The truth of this world, the miracles that occur when a person meets another. I was unbearably curious. That is why I left the snake den with the mask, took it off with my own hands, and started everything anew. Master's past begins to unfold from his lips. A being who reaches the pinnacle of the immortal Tao and attains a seat. If they abandon that seat, their cultivation resets. Even if one has reached the realm of immortal lord, they would fall to become a vestige liberation immortal. Of course, that applies to ordinary seats. The stronger the power of one's seat, the greater the loss in realm. The seat I stood upon in the snake den was far too powerful, so the moment I abandoned the seat of the snake, I fell all the way to the third star of the chi refining stage. Whenever I hear terms like seat, immortal lord, or vestige liberation immortal, it feels like my memories are vaguely stirring. But even though I had fallen to the third star of chi refining, I did not give up. I built everything again from the beginning. My former comrades in the snake den all expected me to die like a bug, but I endured countless trials and rose again, eventually re-entering the immortal family and stepping once more onto the immortal Tao. Thus, I attained another seat. Attaining a seat not belonging to the snake, I at last surpassed the me of the past when I was in the snake den. As if an amusing thought has come to mind, Master starts chuckling. The reactions of my former comrades back then were priceless. It's because while the mask I took as a retirement keepsake isn't the main body of the seat, it is a crucial key needed to enter the seat of the snake den. The entire snake den was thrown into chaos. They thought I had died like a bug and that they could retrieve the key, but out of nowhere, I ended up being enthroned as a supreme deity, making them believe they had lost the key for good. So, they decided to go to war with me. Master strokes the tenghua. If it wasn't for my friend, I would have died without a doubt. My friend helped me. They helped me find refuge in a place untouched by light, and thanks to that, I was not killed. In that place, I shared many enlightenments with my friend and gradually interpreted the seat while growing my skills. The snake den was in an uproar. Because the key was never retrieved and my skills only kept getting stronger, they started sending assassins. Master's hand, which had been stroking the tenghua, now touches the figure beside the one marked with Mu, U. Of course, not a single assassin ever reached me. The snake den where the venom reached its peak eventually sent the strongest being within their ranks at the time as an assassin. And that was Master, who had been stroking the tenghua of the figure inscribed with Gi. He suddenly pats my shoulder. For some reason, even though my shoulder is being touched, I feel my heart being at ease. The newly appointed field garden heavenly lord, Guac AM. No memories surface, but I instinctively feel that this story is of immense importance. The snake den always operates in pairs. Great forest and flower plant, great sun and torch candle, castle wall and field garden, sword spear and pearl jade, great sea and rain dew. Of course, in emergencies, such rules are often ignored, but regardless, each pair forms a unit, and the sins of one are also borne by the other. So, to capture me, the one who defected from the snake den, my former partner was sent. Back then, that one was known as the strongest in the snake den, the only one who could fight a governing immortal in a one-on-one battle and win. But after I fought that one fairly and grasped victory, I, in the end, took them as my disciple. I also took their mask and kept it. Kukik. I can still remember the snake den foaming at the mouth over it. Master, stroking his goatee and laughing, places his finger on the completed Tenghua. At that moment, I flinch in surprise. Cheek. The Tenghua begins to burn. Smoke rises from Master's fingertip, and soon, flames engulf the Tenghua. Why are you burning it? I drew it out of nostalgia, but drawing the past when I wore the mask is unpleasant. Is there a problem? Master put a lot of effort into drawing it. It feels like a shame. A shame, huh? Is it really a shame? Pardon. Master gazes at me with sharp eyes and asks, is it not that you are ensnared by the venom of the snake and wish to gaze upon its symbol longer? What are you? The snake den is Radiance Hall. They are the owners of light. Whoom. For some reason, my head starts hurting. The moment I hear those words, something submerged deep within me begins to rise. Something in my memories begins to resurface. Only after leaving the snake den did I realize. They follow fate. They sincerely believe they are following the proper fate and guiding the world righteously. But they are wrong. We believed we acted of our own free will, but in truth, from the very beginning, we were being controlled. Are you not the same? Master, disciple is not being controlled. Then why are you still here, you dull-witted brat? Do you still not understand the meaning of the Tenghua I gave you? Master suddenly flares up at me and rises from his seat. At some point, a six-sided club is already in his grasp. That six-sided club is so painful that even I, who have grown accustomed to pain, can barely endure it. Frightened, I plead, Master, please forgive me. Your disciple is too dull-witted to grasp your words. Disciple merely wiped the mirror and swept the yard as Master commanded. Wiped and swept, you say? Do you even know what kind of tree the leaves you've been sweeping came from? I look at the trees Master points to and shake my head. Disciple's discernment is shallow, so I do not know. Please enlighten me. That is called the Bodhi, Puti, tree. I will ask again. Do you know what it is you have been sweeping and wiping? Bodhi, Puti. Hearing that word, I feel something aching in my head. What is it that have I been sweeping and wiping all this time? Is it not obviously mirrors and the Bodhi tree? Yet, for some reason, I have a feeling that this is not the answer Master wants. I rack my brain desperately, to avoid the six-sided club, to avoid pain. As I strain my thoughts, a certain scene comes to mind. All things in this world are shaped by meaning. Therefore, if one understands the meaning of the world, anything can be painted as a Tenghua. In a way, everything in the universe, every affair of this world, is a Buddha. These are words Master once spoke to me. And in that instant, as if thunder strikes my mind, I look up at him. If all things are meaning, then what I have been wiping and sweeping are not mirrors and the Bodhi tree. In the end, I have merely been cleansing and cleaning my meaning. My vision blurs. The surroundings begin to distort like a fading dream. Meaning, in this world, there is nothing but meaning. Then, what is that meaning? What meaning exists in this world? In this world. Suddenly, something flashes through my mind like lightning. Chongmun Rao. The name Chongmun Rao. And I recall what I have learned under that name. The long years of study, from the 1st to the 14th star of Qi refining. The enlightenment of all Dharma formulas, from the 72 earthly fiends to one origin, one convergence. Yes, all formulas within Qi refining ultimately return to one origin. All meanings ultimately return to a single meaning. If all meanings are, in truth, one, I see. Neither the mirrors nor the Bodhi tree truly existed. Tears stream down my face as I bow before the being in front of me. Thank you, Master. Have you understood? A warm smile appears on their face. The figure before me is not Master in the form of Chongmun Rao. It is the symbol of the yellow snake. That snake is not biting its tail to form a circle. Instead, it draws a circle by spiraling outward. Yes, this snake is forming a helix, Lushen. All spells are, in truth, one. Qi, soul, fate are all one. All meanings are also one. Everything is one. The essence of immortal arts is connecting with that wanda. Before I realize it, my body has returned to that of Xiao Unhyun, clad in a white robe. Radiance 10 heavens, or whatever, do not be bound by formulas. Only reaching the one is the true way to reach the ultimate. Yes, I will do so without fail. With deep enlightenment, I shed tears and bow to my master. They are Chongmun Ryong, the Salt Sea Supreme Deity, the Yellow Snake, and also the 5th seat of the Radiance 10 Heavens, Castle Wall Heavenly Lord. At last, I open my eyes. Before me, 6 suns have appeared. 6 million years have passed. Chapter 581, Sunlight Hunting 1. Chijijijik. I begin to perceive my surroundings through my hazy mind. I regain my senses. Already 6 suns have formed. It seems about 6 million years have passed. For 6 million years, I was completely enthralled by the poison of light, becoming nothing more than a machine instinctively spewing out stars. What a truly terrifying being. That existence called light. I need to regain my senses right now. I quickly focus my consciousness to clear my mind. Yet, for some reason, not only my body but even my will refuses to move as I command. What is this? I cannot move. Even though I have reached the realm of a true immortal, my immortal body stiffens as if poisoned by a powerful venom, rendering me unable to move at will. My body is focused solely on producing light. Panicked, I try to reclaim control over my own body, but it is futile. Woo-woo. My body remains dazed, mechanically creating new fixed stars just like the poison of light orders it to. Chijijijik. A silver-white light begins to emerge in my hands. And within that light, I seem to glimpse a silver-white snake biting its tail. As soon as I see that snake symbol, my mind becomes blank again, and I feel as if my consciousness is being consumed by the light. No, with just my will alone, I can't break free. If this continues, I grit my teeth. But just then, as I gaze at the silver-white snake, someone comes to mind. The face of the one I had briefly unmasked. Yes, Jiang's face flashes through my head. Woo-woo. The moment I recall her face, the poison of light inexplicably seems to weaken. Jiang, I see. When I think of Jiang's face, the light weakens. As expected, the lights of the Radiance 10 Heavens are the Radiance 10 Heavenly Lords. In other words, connected to the Radiance 8 Immortals of the present. However, while it becomes easier to maintain my consciousness, my body remains addicted to the light, endlessly generating more of it. This won't do. I need another method. Just then, this energy. I flinch in surprise at the presence of a familiar energy emanating from somewhere. Seiya, it is evil, the authority of the sinister devilish path, the treacherous stench of blood and the scent of corpses. The fragrance of the great mountain supreme deity's corpse mountain blood seizes my mind. This is Guak Am. No. If it were Guak Am, they would never forgive the pathetic me who is being controlled by light. They would have called me pathetic as soon as they saw me and killed me on the spot. The use of this corpse mountain blood is. Realizing who has intruded upon this space with the energy of corpse mountain blood my eyes snap open. Ohyesio is extending her power into this space-time. I see. 6 million years have passed, so the others must have grown significantly stronger as well. I rack my head. Why on earth would Ohyesio extend corpse mountain blood here? To devour me? How persistent. If her realm has risen this much, she should have realized that the great mountain supreme deity's words were lies. But regardless, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. Corpse mountain blood fundamentally rejects light. Perhaps it is because Guak Am's will, which rejects Radiance Hall, is deeply embedded within it. Thus, if I were to use that corpse mountain blood I might be able to escape the light's poisoning through the principle of fighting poison with poison. What I need right now is information. Directly facing my consciousness and immortal body that refuse to move as I will, I begin repentant enlightenment. Immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. Woo. As I recite the phenomena extinguishing mantra, the sensation in my body begins to return, albeit slowly. TSDS. Though I do not immediately regain my physical body, my senses begin to return. I can see. The planes of chi, soul, and fate become vividly readable. I read through history, grasping the current situation. And then, I realize what is happening. Damn it. Filling the heavens governing view is sealing all advancements. At this rate, I won't be able to do anything. This can't be. This can't do. I need someone who peers through my filling the heavens governing view. Someone, As I read through history, I suddenly uncover an unexpected truth. Yeo Hamjin Uy. They are making plans to destroy the results of my Radiance 10 Heavens. I see. You all, even if it means joining hands with Ohyesio, are working hard to regain my mind. I feel like crying. It's been 6 million years. 6 million years. Even Ban Ta, who had been stuck in the purple gold realm for 500,000 years, whined about how hard it was. Yet these three have been trapped in this suffocating world for more than 12 times that duration, struggling to save me. At their loyalty, that can't even be compared to the winner Ban Ta, I inwardly bite my lips. I swear. I make a vow here and now. I swear. At the very least, I will not let you be unhappy. This is my oath. To those who have sworn loyalty to me. To at least my subordinates. No matter how many lifetimes pass and no matter what I must do, I will strive to grant them what they desire. Of course, I still need to stop Yeo from kidnapping people and making them die from excessive pleasure. I will not forget you. Gijijigik. Engraving their heart into my chest, I begin using the phenomena extinguishing mantra with all my strength to resist the poison of light. I will definitely escape from this poison. and I will step beyond this space-time of emptiness. Hamjin lets out a sigh. Kugugugugu. Before he realizes it, 7 million years have passed. His master shows no signs of regaining his mind. With Ohio-Seo's help, they have tried time and time again to secretly detonate the fixed stars. But it is impossible. Though all three of them are at the sacred vessel stage, and thus capable of using some level of immortal arts, their mere immortal arts alone cannot break through the immortal art of the crystal glass being Seo Unhyun, filling the heavens governing view. A powerful and cruel immortal art that fixes all outcomes to failure. Built upon Seo Unhyun's countless failures, that immortal art is unbreakable no matter what they try. The one aiding them, Ohio-Seo, also regards filling the heavens governing view with the greatest caution and fear, exhausting every effort to find its weakness, but it proves impossible. Hamjin feels as if he is wandering through a hazy fog. Even by creating a prophetic star and offering it as a sacrifice to summon Ohio-Seo's sincere single strike, the result was the same. Seo Unhyun, poisoned by the venom of light, so effortlessly shattered Ohio's single strike with the power of filling the heavens governing view. Not once has any of their attacks even properly reached Seo Unhyun's fixed star. Hamjin feels himself growing anxious. The 7 fixed stars that have at some point risen to the sky. The 7th sun emits a silver-white light, dyeing the crystal glass realm. Moreover, the situation in the crystal glass realm is gradually worsening. There are 7 fixed stars. Though Seo Unhyun has created stellar systems, he holds these stellar systems in place with attraction force with him at the center, preventing them from straying far away from him. Because of this, the crystal glass realm is growing increasingly cramped as new planets and fixed stars continue to be born. Of course, the very act of living is not an issue, as Yeo, Hamjin, and Uy, all at the sacred vessel stage, carefully manage everything. However, even they cannot completely block the light. Gradually, the world is heating up. While the attraction force of the fixed stars does not cause any harm, the light, heat, and solar winds continuously emitted from the fixed stars are warming the crystal glass realm. Uy is creating countless gemstones that absorb heat to lower the temperature, but that alone is the limit. If Teacher creates another sun, from that point on, it will truly become difficult to bear. It will get noticeably hotter. Senior Yeo and I will try our best to guide the seas and ice ages, but, in the end, most planets will start turning into deserts. Uy is creating heat-absorbing minerals, and Yeo is bringing forth ice ages to counter Seo Unhyun's light and heat as much as possible to protect the living beings. But that is all they can do. At this rate, do I have to watch all the living beings Teacher has brought into existence go extinct under Teacher's light? Hamjin lands on a planet within the crystal glass realm and lets out a deep sigh. With his eyes lifeless, he slumps onto a rock and gazes at the ground. Even if it's Hamjin, who has the confidence to not yield against any external pressure, against the madness of Seo Unhyun, whom he regards as his teacher, under that unending light of insanity, he feels as though he might give up. Just as Hamjin sags down, about to sink into bleak thoughts. Mister, what are you doing here? Hamjin looks down at a young child tugging at his collar. Sucking on his fingers, the child gazes up at Hamjin under the scorching sunlight. He strokes the child's head and replies, "It's just, someone who is like my father is very sick." Eek, really? Here, this is a herb I picked. Please take it with you. The child extends a handful of grass growing nearby with tiny hands. Hamjin chuckles and shakes his head. Thank you, but that person isn't sick in body. He is sick in heart. This won't be able to heal him. He sighs and pats the child's back before smiling. I appreciate the thought, but it's okay. Go home now. Yes. Okay, then I'll go home and bring some different medicine. No. Before Hamjin can stop him, the little child scurries off, running towards the village where his home is. Hearing his teacher afflicted with madness. It's a child's naive fantasy, but Hamjin smiles as he watches that innocence. The next day arrives. The child brings yet another herb. I'm sorry, but I don't think this one will work either. Then I'll bring a different one tomorrow. It's all right. My teacher is. Not listening to Hamjin's words, the child continues bringing herbs. The next day, the day after that, and the day after that, the child does not give up. And so time passes. The child has become a boy. Mr. Hamjin, I came again today. You've come again. The villagers say I'm crazy, that I come up to an empty rock every day to talk and play. Ha! Mister, are you a ghost? Who knows? I'm a being that only those with a pure heart can see. So you were an immortal. Hamjin bursts into hearty laughter. An immortal, huh? No, I'm not an immortal, just a disciple of one. I knew it. There had to be a reason you never aged even after all these years. Anyway, mister, I've realized it. What is it? That teacher mister talks about. Regular herbs won't heal him, right? You've realized it at last? Haha, that's right. My teacher can't be healed with herbs. Only by eliminating the root cause will he recover. Hamjin lifts his head and looks up at the sunlight. What's the root cause? Sunlight. It's the sunlight. Hearing Hamjin's words, the boy asks with a puzzled expression. Light? Can light make someone sick? It seems so. Because of light, one can even become poisoned. I see. Mister. The boy speaks. I don't have parents. I grew up in a temple since I was little. I wasn't a child monk or anything. Just an errand boy. Is that so? My parents died on a hot day. The head monk said it was heat stroke. I'm sorry. Why is Mr. apologizing? Anyway, ever since that day, I've had a thought that it would be good if there weren't any more people hurt like my parents. That's why when I grow up, I thought about becoming a physician. I see. But just now, I changed my mind. Hamjin, suddenly sensing a powerful will from the boy, looks at him. I'm going to become a hunter. A hunter? What do you plan to hunt? The sun. The sun. Yes, my parents and Mr. Hamjin's teacher were both hurt by the sun. So I'm going to hunt the sun. Why insist on doing that? He looks at the boy with a bitter expression. That is impossible, difficult, and doomed to fail. And though the sun may seem hot and makes life difficult, it is an existence essential for life. More than anything, I can understand your parents, but what does my teacher have to do with you that you are trying to save him? I know. I saw it. The villagers call me a madman who sees things that aren't real, but I definitely saw it, Mr. Hamjin. The boy looks into Hamjin's eyes. I saw Mr. bring rain to our village. Mr. is an immortal, aren't you? One who protects our village. Thanks to Mr., we still have our village and our temple. My parents may have regretfully passed away, but they always said so. That we live each day by the grace of the divine spirit. That one day, we must repay that grace. Hamjin lets out a quiet sigh. He couldn't even save the boy's parents. Such words rise to his throat, but he swallows them back. I will repay that grace. I will hunt the sun that brings pain to Mr.'s teacher. So that's how it is. Hamjin understands what kind of child the boy is. He was born with a consciousness domain more powerful than anyone else's. Because of that, he saw what others could not and perceived Hamjin, whom others could not sense. He is even brimming with talent for immortal cultivation. But as the price for being born with such abilities, he was born with lacking intelligence. From that day on, the boy began bringing a small wooden bow and began practicing shooting wooden arrows at the sky. With a mere human body, to hunt the sun that even we failed to do. It is an impossible task. No matter how much this child advances in cultivation, he will never surpass the grand perfection integration stage. Unless he pierces through filling the heavens governing view. Anything beyond that is impossible. With a grand perfection integration stage body, what kind of sun does he think he can hunt? And yet, Hamjin wonders why. As if mesmerized, he watches over the child's growth. Every day, the boy shoots his bow at the sky. 10 years pass. 20 years pass. The boy becomes a young man, then a middle-aged man, then an old man. And even as the time of his death approaches, he still shoots his bow at the sky. Mr. Hamjin, the boy, who has already become an old man, looks at Hamjin and speaks. I improved a lot, didn't I? Yeah, you improved a lot. The child has become an old man, and he spent his entire life shooting his bow. The archery skills of the old man, who had become one with his bow, continued to improve and improve. Now, he reached the realm where with a single shot of his bow, his arrows can reach the clouds. I think the arrow I shoot today will be my last. I can feel my life fading. The old man looks at Hamjin and smiles. You will watch, won't you? I have always been watching. Hamjin never took the boy as his disciple. Instead, he adjusted his fate so that he may live a long, healthy life, meet an ordinary woman, fall in love, and return to a normal life. But in the end, the boy always came back to Hamjin and shot his bow. Hamjin wished for him to avoid the cruel and arduous path of cultivation, to live a peaceful and happy life, but the boy never chose that path. Even as he rejected the life Hamjin laid out for him, he never let go of his bow. A madman who still refuses to let go of the childish vow he made in his childhood. That is the old man Hamjin sees. Before you go on your final journey, tell me your name. Haha, Mr. Hamjin. You mean, you didn't even know my name? I know, of course. I just want to hear it from you. After all, despite all this time, you never once introduced yourself to me. I only knew because I heard the villagers calling you by it. I see. My introduction is a little late. Mr. Hamjin, the child who became an old man, the child who became a madman. He smiles brightly as he pulls back his bowstring, aiming towards the sun. My name is Inyun. My parents passed away before they could give me a proper name beyond my childhood name, so the head monk at the temple gave me this Dharma name. It's a name taken from the names of two people called Su In and Hong Yan. I see. In-yun. Hamjin looks at In-yun and smiles. Show me your final shot. I have received your command, Sir Divine Spirit. In-yun pulls back his bowstring with all his strength. The bowstring stretches taut. Then, In-yun releases it. In-yun's arrow soars into the sky. Hamjin looks up. Your final shot? I will remember it in my heart. And no matter what, I will not give up on curing my teacher. Hamjin thinks of it as the last desperate struggle of an ordinary human who, despite having the talent for immortal cultivation, was born with something wrong in his mind in exchange. He etches that final struggle into his heart, determined never to give up and to search for a way to save his teacher. To Hamjin, In-yun's last moments are only to that extent. However, In-yun's arrow reaches the clouds. Hamjin rises from his seat. The arrow pierces through the clouds. What? Piercing through the clouds, the arrow does not fall. As if, for some reason, it is unaffected by attraction force. Wait! Hamjin's eyes open wide. The arrow continues to soar. The arrow breaks through the atmosphere of the planet. And after piercing through the stratosphere, the arrow finally comes to a halt as it quietly crumbles. In-yun. Hamjin stares blankly at In-yun. The final arrow of his life. That single arrow transcended every limit of a human who has neither learned martial arts nor cultivation methods, escaping the world they live in. Hamjin understands what miracle this is. It is immortal art. A mere human, in the final moments of his life, awakened immortal art. Had Seo Eunhyun seen it, he would have called it entering heavens. But by Hamjin's standards, there is no other way to describe it but immortal art. He stands frozen in place for a long time. In-yun remains stiff, dead along with his final immortal art. He died standing. A childish heart. That pure and innocent heart, determined to save Hamjin's teacher who suffers from the light, had reached the heavens. In-yun's children come to retrieve his body. Thanks to Hamjin, In-yun lived a relatively peaceful life. Before long, his descendants had multiplied. Yet, even when In-yun's children retrieve his body, he remains rigid. It is simply too unbelievable. Hamjin only regains his senses when In-yun's son steps forward to the same spot where his father once stood and begins shooting arrows. In-yun's son follows his father and begins to shoot his bow. Hamjin watches blankly. Is it to carry on his father's will? Is it In-yun's dying wish? He does not know for sure. Perhaps it is something In-yun asked of them to please Hamjin, the divine spirit. But even after In-yun's death, the bow he once used continues to shoot into the sky. Hamjin simply stares at the sight, dazed. When In-yun's son dies, his grandson takes his place. Then his great-grandson, and then his great-great-grandson. At some point, Hamjin begins to observe them seriously. And at some point, he realizes that a certain power has begun to take root in their bloodline. That power is being passed down to one another, being gradually inherited by the next generation. And with each inheritance of that power, In-yun's family begins to display an ever greater natural talent for archery. Hamjin eventually discerns its identity. So it's you. Oh hi Seo. Someone chuckles from within Hamjin's shadow. Is this the bloodline you placed your hopes in? I decided to gamble on your hope as well. What have you done to them? Nothing much. I simply laid tainted soul filling the heavens upon them. Tainted soul filling the heavens. Do not worry. Tainted soul filling the heavens is different from before. It no longer aims to erode others. From the moment Seo Huiol passed it on to me, it transformed entirely. This power has become the power of inheritance. Oh hi Seo, residing within Hamjin's shadow, speaks as she watches the unending inheritance of In-yun's will. Let us endlessly pass down their talent, their will. Then, surely, something useful will come of it in time, don't you think? No. Hamjin denies Oh hi Seo's words. It will not be something as simple as useful. A statement founded on nothing but hope, with no evidence to prove it. Yet, for some reason, Hamjin feels certain. In-yun's family, his will, that has begun its endless succession, will one day cover the sky itself. He is sure of it. That child's goodwill will definitely. Hamjin smiles as he watches In-yun's clan, who have grown in strength and have now purchased the entire mountain as their training ground. Surely, hunt the sunlight. Before long, the 4 seasons pass, and spring arrives once more. The peach trees planted by In-yun's family begin to bloom atop the mountain. The entire mountain is filled with the scent of peach blossoms. Author's note. The title of this chapter, Sunlight Hunting, is in homage to Vamos a Cuisar o Sol by José Mauro de Vasconcelos. Vamos a Cuisar o Sol is a story about a boy growing into a young man. It is a tale of a child becoming an adult. Through this episode, I want to portray Seo Eunhyun's growth as an immortal, his coming to age as an immortal. That is why I chose Sunlight Hunting as the title for this episode. As always, thank you. Translator notes. The Korean title for Vamos a Cuisar o Sol is Ibithong. which translates literally to sunlight hunting.